Yo, yo, yo. Sorry for the late start, guys. A little bit of some technical difficulties this morning, but it's sorted. We're good. And we're ready to rock, baby. Yeah, happy Tuesday, man. Hope everybody's doing well and ready to rock for what should probably be our final day, probably, of Song of Horror. We'll see what else we get into today. We've got a few back pocket games for Scaretober. So we'll see what we get into. Who knows? Who knows around here, you know? Just flying by the seat of our pants sometimes. It'll be a good day, though. We'll get that taken care of. We'll play something else maybe a little bit. It'll be good. We'll have some fun, as we always do, man. But before we can get into the gaming content, you know we gotta do what we do, baby, which is video gaming news for today, October 10th. So let's go ahead and get ready. Let's get in there and see what has been going on in the video gaming industry over the past 24 hours here. Let's go take a look, man. Let's go. Let's see it. All right. They're really trying to give us those holiday vibes, aren't they? There we go. Yeah, Activision Blizzard games should hit Game Pass in 2024. That shouldn't be a surprise to people. With this acquisition of Activision Blizzard by Microsoft happening relatively quickly here, these games should be hitting Game Pass soon, right? Yo, can somebody explain to me how Starfield hasn't had an FOV slider in it to begin with? How do games... I just don't understand, dude. 2023, dude, in a game like Starfield, AAA game, it doesn't just by default have an FOV slider in it? What? We'll see what else they're implementing there, but looks like we got Variety's giving us the best PS5 day deals. PS5 deals for Prime Day. Prime Day kicks off today. It runs through tomorrow. So there's potentially some sales to be had. We'll be hitting on a lot of that, I'm sure, today, not tomorrow, because tomorrow's our day off, right? So I'll do my best to get everybody as educated on the potential deals you can get right now as possible, and that way you can get what you need at the best possible price point if you see something at a really good deal that you're in the market for, you know. Let's do this. That ought to get rid of some of the sports stuff for us. I'm probably going to, for the Prime Day stuff, I'm going to not get too wild with it. Like, just know there's going to be a lot of peripheral sales. Like, there's going to be software sales. There's going to be hardware sales. There's going to be all kinds of stuff. Like something like this for the 12 best gaming headset deals, right? I'm not going to dive into that. But if I see something pertinent that I feel like is worth diving into, I will. Just know, man, that right now on Amazon, there are a lot of sales going on across the board, all kinds of different stuff. So if you're in the market, just because we don't hit on it doesn't mean there might not be a sell out there for something you're interested in, you know? Decameron, what up, my friend? How you doing, buddy? Happy Tuesday. Work. Well, hopefully it's a good day of work, and you know, being here with us will make it go a little bit faster and a little bit better, buddy. That's the hope. Yeah, man. This is around the time that we're always kicking off the news segment, man. So it's good to see you, buddy. Yeah. Oh, you watched the VOD with a puzzle? Yeah. It was a cool puzzle, dude. Yeah, it was a cool puzzle. Yeah. I liked it. It was neat. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I knew exactly what you meant. Yeah. The one that we kind of finished the day, close to finish the day on yesterday. Yeah. It was pretty neat. Yeah, I did put the picture together. Yeah, I put the picture together. I screwed it up in the first place, but yeah, I went back and put the picture together. Yo, Ferret, what up, dog? Yeah. But I mean, is there, like, because the picture doesn't actually, the game doesn't actually put the picture together, like, it doesn't snap it together and stuff, right? You just have to basically put it together yourself so you can see what's in there. That's what you're talking about, right? So yeah, I had it screwed up in the first place, but yeah, I ended up getting it totally pieced together all the way. I was being real three-head about it at first, and I thought it was like keeping a person out of it, but then yeah, chat helped me realize that I was being kind of three-head about it. I got the whole picture put together. You can get it as clue. Well, the all of the clues are in the picture, obviously, right? I mean, that was very clear to begin with. Like the all the numbers and everything. Yeah. You mean you actually can get it as an item in the game? To like carry around and stuff? Oh, yeah. Well, it wasn't really necessary, to be honest. All I did was like write down the numbers. Like I just basically pulled my own phone out and wrote the numbers down, so it wasn't a big deal. Yeah. But it wasn't too difficult. I realized pretty quickly after starting to put the picture together that it was actually the identifiers on the information sheet of the picture was just adding up. At first I thought it was like the numbers of the people were numbered. That's what I thought it meant, from like highest to lowest, was the people were numbered. And the people were gonna be like numbered, and their identifiers were the symbols or whatever. But then I realized pretty quickly that it was just counting up the number of people. And I actually realized right away too that the guy with the monocle was going to be included as somebody that had glasses too. So yeah, it was a good puzzle. Yeah, it didn't throw too much of a wrench at us though. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I think that, yeah, I mean, that's one of those things for puzzles. I'm not the best person at puzzles, for sure. I would never claim to be that. But yeah, it's always interesting to me too to see how people crack puzzles in games, because sometimes I'll get them real quick. Sometimes I can be real three-head about it, man, and it can take me a while. So it's just different. Like I said before when we talked about this kind of thing, one of my favorite things about like playing a game like Breath of the Wild was how many options it gives somebody to try and figure out how to get like the shrine puzzles done in your own kind of way. So that was one of the coolest things about Breath of the Wild for me, was seeing the different ways that people could get puzzles done. Very inventive, like, you know what I mean? There wasn't any definite set way to get a puzzle done. I think there were ways that they intended for people to get it done, but there were always numerous ways you could get things done, and you could be inventive with it, you know, and I think that was a really cool thing about Breath of the Wild that I enjoyed a lot about the shrines, you know. It was very cool. Oh yeah, Ferret, yeah. Yeah, Ferret was like, I don't think the monocle's glasses. Yeah. Yeah, the glasses in the pocket. It looked like a monocle to me, is why I referred to it as a monocle. It looked like more like a monocle than glasses in a pocket, but it could have been glasses in a pocket. Whatever. Yeah. Well, me too, Ferret. Yeah, I've got one of those weird kind of heads, dude. My brain works weird, so I don't normally see puzzles in like I think the more normal fashion of how most people would complete them. I'm always thinking kind of outside the box of, and not on purpose. It's just the way my brain works of how to get things completed. You know, I'm weird about stuff like that. You know. Well, sometimes, dude. Look, you've been here long enough, dude. You know that that's not always true. But yeah, it was a fun little puzzle, dude. It was cool, man. Yeah. How are you guys this morning, dude? PC gaming is becoming unaffordable to gamers on a budget. I disagree. I think it depends. Budget is a very vague word. Look, I'm actually going to bring this up. I'm going to talk about this. I disagree. Actually, very much disagree with this right now. Oh, really? No, I haven't seen that yet, Ferret, but we'll see if we come across it, and if not, I'll pull it up. That's good, dude. Good. That dude can get wrecked, man. Nice. Yeah, thanks for letting me know. There's another survival horror game that's pretty decent. The puzzles there can be odd at times. A famous puzzle, the tone deaf people cannot solve. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, that surname, first name thing. There was another part of that puzzle that was weird to me, too. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head right now, but it was also kind of a throw-off. That puzzle as a whole was really weird to me. Well, I would have liked to have seen them go back and fix that. You know, put a patch in to fix that stuff, too. Make it a little bit nicer for people. That was a bit of a misstep for them, yeah. The black shirt? You mean on that puzzle from yesterday? I didn't really see that as a throw off, really. It made sense. Personally. What Decamaron's referring to the surname first name puzzle, because there was a puzzle earlier in the game where they actually tell you to like look for the surname of a certain individual, but what they're actually trying to get you to do is look for the first name of the individual to go off of for these like collections, and so they actually mislead you for the way the puzzle needs to go. Yeah. Well, I think, you know, that's one of those things. This puzzle was... so that was actually misinformation. That's what we're getting at. The one Decamaron's talking about, that's actual misinformation, right? Whereas a lot of these puzzles, it's about, are you interpreting it the right way, right? So, you know, the whole black shirt thing was fine. And we got it right the first time. It wasn't like everybody's wearing black and everybody's wearing white, because they were. It was in fact, you know, the color of their shirt, and that's how we went with it. So, yeah, right. Yeah. Which is quite often the case with puzzles, right? They kind of they want to make it to where it's a bit of an interpretation thing. Are you interpreting it the right way? Are you thinking about it the right way? You know, as opposed to like actually being misinformed to where you're being led astray from you know, being able to actually ever interpret it and get to the right point of being able to get to that certain point of the puzzle where you need to be, right? Oh, really? That one was really easy for me, dude. But I'm also an IT guy, so I'm very familiar with hexadecimal and converting that into different, you know, numerical values and stuff like that. I haven't done it in a long time, but I'm familiar with it. So that wasn't a big deal to me. But I could see how it would screw other people up, you know, with the letters and everything, for sure. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with this, especially because of the handheld gaming, PC gaming stuff that's been coming out. No, you're good, dude. This is what we do, man. We just talk gaming to begin with. We talk gaming and we talk, this is really the new stuff, so we'll get into a lot of different topics here. It's all good, man. Don't even worry about it. Yeah. Oh, reading music, bro. I haven't read music since I was young. Yeah. So that's a tough one for me. I've had some stuff like that. I haven't read music since I was like a middle schooler, dude. So it's a pretty brutal one for me to be like reading music. It's been a long flipping time. I did figure it out though. What game was that? Shadows Over Loathing? Yeah. Yeah, Shadows Over Loathing, there was some music stuff in there, but I figured it out. Yeah. Very first game ever? Oh, bro. My very first game ever was either on an Atari 2600, and I'm talking when I was really, really, really little, and I don't know what game it was. It was either an Atari 2600 or it was on an Apple IIe computer. And I couldn't tell you what game it was, to be honest. I was really, really, really small. Yeah. And no idea what the game was. But hooked on gaming ever since, you know, obviously. So, yep. Because we had yeah, one second. All right, sorry. Yeah, so, well, here's the deal, dude. I mean, I grew up with, like, not very much money. So, even though I'm talking about playing, like, an Atari 2600 and an Apple IIe, those were, like, hand-me-down machines to us. So it's not like I was playing them whenever they were at their height or anything. I wasn't playing those whenever they first came out or anything like that. These were machines that were handed down to my family from other people we knew. You know what I mean? They didn't want them anymore. And they handed them down to us. And so I got to tinker with them and play with them and stuff like that, because I was not, you know, I didn't grow up with, I mean, we grew up with very little money. And so, gaming for me, you know, I didn't have a lot of access to stuff either. And, oh yeah, I mean, no, look, I'm not, yeah, I'm not, I'm thankful for it. Don't get me wrong. I'm thankful for it. This is the mindset for me. And I try to always, you know, I've tried to have this mindset for a long time. You know, I've always been thankful for the things I have. I try to maintain that mindset and try and, you know, things could always be worse. Try to be a glass half full kind of person. You know what I mean? I'm just getting across the fact that, like, you know, if this wasn't a situation where, you know, like, I didn't grow up well off or anything like that. It was just a situation where we had other people we knew that were more well off, and they had gotten tired of these devices and handed them down to us, and I was fortunate enough to have that happen. So I got access to very, very early designed gaming devices, and it really piqued my interest a lot. And as I got a little bit older, you know, I ended up getting into having some consoles and stuff like that, and having, you know, I was the first real, what would we have, like, I think the first PC we had was like a 386 DX2. You know, whenever the internet first started becoming a thing, man, we had another computer that kind of got handed down to us a little bit or something. I can't remember. But that's where I started tinkering with tech a lot and getting into not just gaming, but technology and things like that. You know, I mean, there wasn't even an operating system on it. You know, it was just DAWs. You know, when DAWs, I don't really consider it an operating system. So it was, you know, I think I feel fortunate in the fact that I've been able to see the evolution of a lot of technology, the evolution of a lot of what gaming has had to offer. And I think that's been a very, it's helped me to understand and have the kinds of mindset that I do have about the way that I approach the industry and stuff like that, you know. DAWs was, I mean, not in the way that operating systems are today, though. That's why I don't really consider it an operating. It didn't have any kind of GUI or anything like that. You know what I mean? It was just file system exploration is all it was, right? So, I mean, in, you know, what people would consider an operating system nowadays, DAWs, most people would not look at DAWs and go, oh yeah, that's an OS. You know what I mean? That's why it's hard for me to consider DAWs like an OS. It was just a very base level file management system is all it really was. Command line. Everything was command line. You know, there was no GUI. You couldn't click on anything. You had to know what you were doing with command line. And yeah, I mean, it was an operating system at its core, yeah, but not in the same notion that, you know, a lot of people would consider operating systems to be nowadays. So that's why I just don't really put it in the same category. Oh yeah. Yeah, yo, Decamarin, yo, that's cool, dude. Yeah. Yeah, fair. Yeah, I mean, I've still dabbled around with a lot of command line stuff over the years because I've done coding, I've done a lot of network, I've done a lot of infrastructure work, you know, so routers and switches, there's a lot of command line work that goes along with that, you know what I mean? There's just a lot of I've done a lot of different command line stuff over the years, but I'd be really rusty nowadays on a lot of it too. I'd be completely honest. You know, it also like PowerShell stuff, a lot of, you know, PowerShell. I haven't gotten extensive, you know, I haven't gotten an extensive amount of work in PowerShell, but there's been dabbles of PowerShell stuff here and there, which is a lot of command line stuff, you know. So yeah, I mean, but that's where a lot of my early tech days, you know, and messing with computers and stuff like that came in with, like, playing around with DAWs and things like that, you know, and I just stuck to it. I love it. Yeah, PowerShell is super powerful. Yep, it is. Yep, you're right. I used it a lot just in my day-to-day whenever I would work in different areas, because there's a lot of, like, real useful basic commands if your PC's being funky. You know what I mean? There's a lot of real useful basic commands to know for PowerShell, you know. But yeah, I agree, Decamaran. Yeah, I mean, that's where a lot of us in this community, we're at our core, we're just big nerds, man, you know. Me and Ferret have very similar backgrounds, as you can tell, and it seems like you do too, buddy, you know. So you know, I think that many of us that hang out here, we've got a lot of passion when it comes to the gaming industry, obviously, but a lot of us have a lot of background when it comes to technology too. Not everybody, but a lot of us do, you know. I think a lot of times those go hand in hand, though. If you know, you have some kind of interest in one or the other, it ends up translating well over. You know, if you're, you know, growing up, you have an interest in gaming, it ends up translating well into, you know, finding your way into other areas of technology, and vice versa, right? So it's worked like that quite often for a lot of people, and I can attest to that fact myself for sure. Yeah. Which is why, so I didn't always do the video gaming news segments, you know. Basically, what was it? Within the first year of streaming, which we are now entering our third year of streaming. We're about halfway through our so we've done 2 years of streaming. We're into our third year of streaming now. Yeah, dude. But it was like within the first year of streaming, I noticed that I wasn't always ready to play games right away when I woke up. So sometimes I would, like, find ways to just kill some time before I started playing games. And then it kind of evolved into being this, like, video gaming news stuff, you know? So, which I've always been passionate about. I've got a lot of, you know, particular views about the industry and trying to promote a healthier overall industry for us as the consumer, and trying to educate people on what I think is, you know, are the industry, the businesses in the industry that deserve to be, you know, supported, and the industry, you know, businesses that don't deserve to be supported, things like that. And so it just evolved into this, you know, it just evolved into us doing a video gaming news segment every single day. So, you know, and by the way, for everybody that I've slacked a little bit over the past week. I haven't really gotten any new content on the YouTube page over the past week, but I did a ton of content work last night, and I've got a whole bunch of new content that's uploaded to YouTube right now. I just have to make it public tonight. So tonight into tomorrow, you'll see a bunch of new content on the YouTube page. All the previous week's news segments, as well as, like, specific topics we've covered that are more interesting for having their own particular VODs and stuff that are cut out of the news segments, stuff like that. You'll see those become public over the next probably 24 hours. So just keep an eye up for that stuff if you're interested. I slacked a little bit over the past week, but it's coming. Yeah, we've already got this up, and I mean, this shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. The whole, you know, Activision Blizzard's games coming to Game Pass, right? What? Shut up. We'll see what Xbox is doing here to change their capture system. See what this is. I think we kind of hit on this yesterday, so we don't really need to deep dive into this. We found out already that there were some new games hitting PS Plus for October. Yeah. So if you hadn't heard this yet, Gotham Knights, which, I mean, if you're really interested in playing this game, my recommendation is to play this game on a subscription service. It has been the whole time. So, here you go, I guess. You know, I don't think that anybody should really be paying full price for this game. But if you're interested in playing it and seeing what it has to offer, I think that the best thing you can do is probably play it on a subscription service so you're not paying full retail for it. Yeah, mixed scores from both critics and users. Yeah, much to be desired in comparison to its predecessors. So just be prepared for the fact this game is probably not going to blow you away. They've also got the Dark Pictures anthology House of Ashes. Disco Elysium, the final cut. Oh my god, guys, this is an absolute banger. Yeah, I know I already hit on that a little bit, Ferret, and I'll be trying to find people as many deals as possible today, because I won't, stream won't be live tomorrow. Tomorrow's the day off, right? But thanks for the reminder, dude. I appreciate it. Here's one of our clips from the Disco Elysium playthrough. That's become a bit of a piece of lore for our community here. Thumbs up, guys. There you go. Far Changing Tides as well, part of the wave of releases. Gungrave Gore, Elite Dangerous, for all those PS5 players that are a bit sour about not getting to play some Starfield. There's some space stuff for you. Dead Island Definitive Edition, another good horror title for the month of October, as well as Alien Isolation, baby. Yeah, so they got some nice titles coming out here in October for everybody. We hit on this yesterday, but if you didn't know, now you know, chatters. There you go. Dude, how are our AAA games coming out without an FOV slider? Can somebody explain that one to me? Apparently there's going to be a limit on how long the captures are going to be kept on Xbox servers. Oh, delete after 90 days, you believe? Cool, Decamarin, thanks. Yeah, we'll read about it. Make sure we have all the details, but yo, thanks for that precursor there. I appreciate it. This is the same thing as, like, I mean, as far as we are into, modern gaming, what modern gaming is, how long we've been, doing gaming, the fact that we still have games come out, and I mean AAA games that don't have key binding, button mapping, key mapping, and like FOV sliders. Flipping crazy. Yo, Vault, what up, dude? Yo, did you see I hit you up in Discord last night, dude? Did you see it? Oh, yo, Farrah, thanks, dude. Nice. Yeah, thanks for this, dog. Yeah, here's the Unity CEO stuff from Ferret. Great, dude, great. We've hit on this a lot. I figured this would probably be one of the things that would have to happen. And, yeah, this dude getting wrecked. All right. I don't think he's probably the only person that needs to be ousted here, but, that's a beginning. Console, PC, or both? What are you talking about? Is what, console, PC, or both? I've talked about a lot of stuff here. Oh, you mean for the Starfield stuff? I don't know. I've got an article up that's going to talk about the updates for it. Yeah. I'll take a look, dude. I'll take a look. Yeah. Yeah, I got some nice clips highlighted out last night, dude, that are have to do with you. Yeah. So I tagged you in the Discord clips channel, dog. On a couple of clips. As a matter of fact, you guys should check one of these out. You guys should check one of these out here. Look. Check this out. I'll turn off my camera for a second. I don't know. I don't know.
Vault Chaplain 707 cheered Dex 100. Don't waste money on stream gifting, these streamers suck lol JK.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, buy yourself some food. Yeah, those content creators are balls, dude. We're terrible. Don't worry about us. God dang it. Flipping vault, dude. Dude, I was watching that last night. I was laughing my ass off, dude. I was laughing so hard, bro. Yeah, there's another one. I think it was a scare one. You got me on a scare, dude. So I highlighted that one out too. And yeah, I tagged you in the clips channel of the Discord, bro, so you can take a look at those. I got a few people in there on some of the clips last night. I did a lot of flipping content. Dude, basically, I quit streaming. This is the way some of my days go, man. And I had a lot going on here recently, so I talk about this sometimes. Like yesterday, we streamed a little over 8 hours, and then I stopped the live stream. I ate some dinner, and then I came back and I sat on my computer and I worked on content until what? About 8:30 at night. So I was streaming from 6 until what? I don't know, 2:30 or something like that. Well, you know, 6:30 to 2:30, basically. A little over 8 hours, almost 3, something like that. And then I took about an hour break. And then I sat there for another like 4.5 hours last night working on content. And so it ended up being about over a 12-hour day of just sitting here on the computer working on stuff. It goes like that for me quite often, dude. Just trying to get stuff taken care of. Yesterday was kind of my fault too, though, because I'd gotten a bit backlogged on some of the content stuff. I try to keep up with it so it doesn't get like that for me, but sometimes it just happens. Life gets crazy. Yeah, we'll see about the Starfield stuff. I've got it up. Yeah, Starfield's latest update. I've got it. October Prime Day gaming chair deals. I actually kind of want to see this one. AMD adds system lag monitoring to its Adrenaline overlay. For games that support anti-lag plus. Interesting. Okay, let's take a peek at that. I'm not real familiar with that piece of technology. There's that eyelash, dude. I was about to get stun locked right there. Let's look at our other search real quick. Yo, we see this stuff. This is one of the crazy things also about, we talk about how real video game content is getting. You talk about games like Re-Record and man, what was that recent horror game that we just found that's in development? It looks incredibly realistic. Unreal Engine 5 is incredible. There's a lot of just incredibly realistic content being made. We've seen a lot of this kind of stuff, where there are these clips of like, it'll be like wartime situation videos, and it's duping a lot of people into thinking that it's actually real life things that are happening. I mean, the premise of what could happen with that kind of stuff is actually kind of scary, if you were to cut off certain parts of the world from actual like information flow, except for being able to show, you know, CGI, which has become very realistic, of fake things that could prompt retaliation and stuff. That's a very, very daunting thing to think about, you know. I don't know. It's pretty wild. We see this kind of stuff happen all the time, though. Yeah. Right. Right, dude. Yeah. Yeah, it happens all the time. Happens all the time. Yeah. And it's just just like it's misinformation, you know, is what it really at its core what it is. It's misinforming people, and it's terrible. It really is. You know, I talk about the ramifications of misinformation all the time. I hate it, you know. Unrecord? Yeah, Vault. You haven't seen Unrecord, dude? Yo, here, check it out. Davey. Oh, bro, I'm sorry, man. That sucks, dude. I know you knew you weren't feeling well, man. I'm really sorry, dude. This is Unrecord, bro. This game had basically been getting called out. Look how real this looks, dude. This is all CGI. This is all Unreal Engine 5 generated content, dude. All this is just assets, dude. Nothing in this is real video. Oh, you have seen it, yeah. I'll just go ahead and show it. That way, if anybody else hasn't seen it, it's pretty insane.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Yeah, it looks amazing, dude. It looks amazing. I mean, this is, you know, we talk about the immersion potential of things like this all the time nowadays. You talk about how real something like this looks. I'll show that other horror game in a moment too, so show you how real that looks. You talk about the immersion aspect of this. Think about having VR on with this, dude. Jesus. Actually insane, man. The Matrix isn't that far away, guys. We'll be eating steak every day, baby. This is more, this isn't a horror game. This is like an action FPS game. Yeah. Yeah. Some guy ran by him, was unarmed, with his hands up, was tackled by police. One studio news anchor was like, was just watching a video from your feed. That guy clearly had a large knife. Didn't have his hands up. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Where the fuck is Oscar?
Yeah, we talk about that kind of stuff a lot, you know. Make sure you're getting your information from reliable sources. I think the best thing you can do is go to independent sources most often nowadays, you know. It's a terribly scary thing how bad misinformation gets disseminated and regurgitated in our society nowadays. And quite often on purpose. The other game that I was going to show with, let me see this. It's one of the newer wishlisted games. Yeah, there's date added. I think it's actually Subliminal here. Subliminal, I think this is it. Check this out. This game looks gnarly, dude. This is the horror game that I was thinking of.
Warning. Viewer discretion is advised.
I don't think you can play on record. Really? Well, because of the fisheye view stuff?
As you embark on your experience, please take note and remember these few tips to ensure a safe and pleasant journey. Stay calm and composed. Panic can cloud your judgment and disorient you. Take a moment to take a deep breath, relax,
Word.
and
Yeah.
continue along your journey. Use your light source to help you navigate through the experience. Doing this
But I know this
ensures
is right up
there
your
are
alley,
no
Ferret, so I'm
unwanted surprises
expecting
and keeps
to
you fully
know
aware
what you
of
think
your
about this.
surroundings. Avoid making eye contact with any unfamiliar faces. This is mandatory, and failure to do so will result in an overwhelming and
Yeah, dude. Like, check out the way this game looks, dude. So this says at the bottom of the screen, look, notice in-game footage, dude. Rip-a-roni, that's right, dude. Yeah, Vault, I know, man. That's what I'm saying, dude. The immersion with the realism that we're starting to incorporate in technology is gonna be insane. Yo, dude, this is probably gonna be Scaretober next year, so get ready for it. If it's out by then. Oh, it's wish listed, baby. Don't worry about that. Yeah. Yo, Steam Next Fest is up, by the way, guys. The Steam Next Fest stuff has already kicked off, so there's all kinds of new games and trailers and demos and stuff to take a look at. We'll see if we might be able to grab a bit of a summary right now of some of the best Steam Next Fest stuff that's out right now. Let's see if we can grab an article real quick. Let's go with Rock, Paper, Shotgun, see what they have to offer us here. Get us a look at some of the games that are being showcased for Next Fest right now, all right? Yeah, Decameron, yeah. We talk about this kind of sentiment a lot in here, you know. Yeah. Need more vampires in video games? Not if it's something like Redfall. Got him. Oh, Jesus. Too soon? Creepshow video game to be shown at the Indie Horror Showcase this month. Yeah, at least not for a while, Decameron, no doubt. Yeah. What is that, Ferret? A force feed back chest piece? Dude, what even is that? It sounds terrible. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. A vest-like device that lets you feel when you get... Yeah. It's that haptics, right? The haptics, right? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it probably would be a good police trainer, dude. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to pull this up. Just know there's going to be a lot of peripheral sales right now. There's, I think that, if you're really looking for a quality headset, let me just recommend you do something. First and foremost, go to this website. And this website is actually good for a lot of different stuff. Monitors, mice, keyboards, laptops, printers, headphones, speakers, cameras, vacuums, blenders, television, soundbars. If you go to headphones right here, you can go to go down here to tools and go to compare headphones, right? So if you have a budget that you have for like certain devices or whatever, and you're in the market for some headphones, you can actually like compare headphones, right? And go down to some like Steel Series, you know what I mean? Go with some Steel Series, and then go with some like HyperX or something, You gotta have some HyperX in here, right? Yeah, there we go. Go some HyperX in here. And I don't really know much about either of these models, but I do know both of these brands, and you'll get a real nice overview of, you want to go into wireless gaming, wired gaming, stuff like that, because that's what most of us will be looking for. But they do a real intense, deep dive review for anything that they review on this site. And this is this site right here, I think, is a great place for people to start out at, to get a nice comparison of different makes and models of merchandise you might be in the market for, right? And if you narrow it down to a few different makes and models, you can compare and contrast them. This is a great site for that. My recommendation for you of the the types or the manufacturers of headsets that I'm familiar with. I know Sennheiser's supposed to be very good, but you're going to pay for those. The Arctis are supposed to be bangers. I've never had them. Same thing as HyperX. Those are supposed to be bangers too. And I have a pair of Sony. I like my Sonys, so I'll stand by those, But if you're in the market, just know right now there are a lot of headsets you can probably get on sale on the Amazon Prime Day stuff that's happening between today and tomorrow. So go take a look, okay? Apparently, you can get a pretty good deal on a PS5 and EA FC 24, dude. I don't really want to promote this game, so I'm not a fan of EA. I'm not a fan of what they do with their sports games or anything, but, the games are supposed to be about having fun, and unfortunately, most people can't get a nice soccer/football realistic sim. There we go. Yep, that's right. EA Studio. EA. Sorry, guys. It's so hard to say that without wanting to throw up. That gift turned out pretty good, dude. Turtle Beach. Yeah, I think Turtle Beach is still pretty solid, dude. Yeah. Yo, thanks, Decamarin. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah. So, I don't know. It's hard for me to like I'm not gonna hate on anybody for buying these EA sports games, because I understand that it's hard to find that a place where you can get the same kind of experience, but just people I think have to know that they're still supporting a terrible company. You know what I mean? I think that's the big thing people have to understand. I'm not going to dog anybody for it because I understand why it happens, but you know, it is what it is. I've got this up. We're going to talk about this, and I don't necessarily agree with this on the whole. I think that it used to be more of a more prominent thing than it is now, to be honest. And I'll tell you why when we get into that article. Looks like there's some monitor deals happening for Prime Day as well. Some 4K monitor deals. Again, I would recommend you go to OutsiderAntics and look up their ratings. They do burn-in tests, dude. They do like all kinds of stuff for their monitor testing and everything. It's a really, really good site. Yeah, I mean, they're talking about PC specifically, right? I think, you know, PC gaming is becoming unaffordable to gamers on a budget. And I don't necessarily agree with that, especially modern. I think that there's been a lot of things that have happened in the PC realm. PC is that's always been a big obstacle for people. I've talked about it a lot. There's I think 2 big things that have kept people from getting into the PC side of gaming. One of it's price. It's traditionally been a higher initial price tag to get people into PC gaming. And the other is just, you know, technical know-how, or even the want to learn how to use PCs in the realm of gaming, because it's a different thing, right? It's a different thing than just being locked into the console world. So those, I think, have been the 2 biggest obstacles for people in the past, but I think it's changing. And yeah, I mean, I've talked about it a lot. We'll flesh this out when we get into this article, right? We'll flesh this out. I truly think that it balances out, and I think that PC is the best platform for gaming nowadays. I've talked about this a lot, you know, as somebody who has traditionally played across all platforms. I'll continue, you know, we'll flesh this out when we talk about this. And I'll tell you why I think that this isn't necessarily a great title here. I don't think it's necessarily even as true as it used to be. And in large part because of the PC gaming handhelds that are coming out. But we'll save it for when we dive into that article. We'll flesh that out. Yeah. This will be the Next Fest stuff too. Let's put this back here with this. We'll cover all the Next Fest stuff to end the video gaming news segment on. We'll probably have a lot of trailers to look at and stuff like that. Yep. Yeah, I would agree with that notion too, Ferret. Yeah. And we've talked a lot about, you know, like newer cards. You know, are you actually getting what you're paying for out of those, as opposed to just like buying a previous gen card at a much lower price point? You're not losing that much performance, really, you know, over buying it like the latest and greatest. And we've talked about that a lot. Well, to be fair, I mean, they didn't really stop producing their 2000 series chips until they were well into production of their 4000 series, you know? So, well, dude, yeah, look, Decamarin, this is my PC right here. So, that's my PC, and dude, I built this at the end of 2020. End of 2020, beginning of 2021, I bought all these parts and built this PC. And I'll tell you, especially my CPU and my GPU, it felt like winning the lottery getting my hands on these parts. It was stupid. And I bought them at retail. I didn't pay scalpers for these. I didn't, you know what I mean? But dude, and shout out to Stock Drops Discord. Stock Drops Discord was incredibly helpful for me in finding these parts drop at retailers. But dude, if you knew they were dropping at retailers and you got on there, it was their servers were overrun, and if you got one into your cart, quite often by the time you went to buy it, it would already be out of stock and stuff. I got really lucky to get mine whenever I did, and it felt like winning the lottery, dude, to build a PC back then. It was crazy, man. There were a lot of bots too. What I will say is, dude, I'll shout out Best Buy. Best Buy made it to where they were preventing bots from being able to buy out stock. They had some kind of stuff going on with their website, something implemented to where they were preventing bots from being able to get in and buy stuff anymore. It happened at first, and then they figured out how to prevent it. And by the time I was buying my parts and everything, it was much easier for legitimate people to get their hands on stuff than because they were preventing bots. Yeah, Best Buy was doing a solid job, dude. Yep. And they were only letting people buy one of anything every time stock would drop. You know what I mean? They were doing as much as they could to let as many people as possible get their hands on stuff. That way, people couldn't buy mass quantities of stuff. Bots weren't getting in. It was a good deal. Best Buy was doing a solid job, dude. They were doing a solid job, no doubt. They were doing it for the people. You know what I mean? Because look, most time retailers, they don't care. They're selling their stock. That's all they really care about, right? They're making their money. They don't have to do that kind of thing. But Best Buy did it. Best Buy did it, and they were trying to make sure that people were getting what they needed, you know, instead of just, they were taking care of their customers is what it was. They were taking care of their customers. You don't see that very often anymore, dude. So I'll shout out Best Buy, dude. They did a really good job. Right. Oh, dude, it was insane, Decamarin. Yeah. Yeah. Newegg started doing some really, it was like, dude, they actually had like a lottery system where it was like, oh, hey, you can buy this, but it was like jacked up price and stuff. Wasn't it? It was something weird like that. Look, man, I haven't really used Newegg ever since they sold out to that Chinese company. Whatever that Chinese company was, where they quit being just a tech company and everything too. Bro, they sell like rims. They sell all kinds of crap. Yeah, I mean, they started off as a yeah, it was bundles. That's what it was. Yeah, you couldn't just buy anything separately, right? It was like, oh, hey, you won the chance to buy this GPU, but you've got to buy a CPU and a motherboard and RAM, and you know, so if you don't just want the GPU, you're kind of screwed, right? Or you've got to try to resell that stuff or something. Yeah, I remember, dude. I remember. So yeah, Newegg started off as a US based company, if I remember correctly, and I loved Newegg back in the day, but they sold out due to a Chinese corporation. What was like back in the mid 20 teens or something? Yo, Samara, what's up, friendo? Mid 20 teens? I think is where they sold out to that Chinese company, Chinese corporation, and it went downhill. It went way downhill. Oh, you did? Yeah, fair. Yeah, I got in on one of their lotteries too, but I was like, nah, I'm good. I don't want all this crap. You know, it wasn't worth it in my opinion. I didn't want to go through the hassle of trying to sell off everything else I was going to have to buy with it, so I just didn't mess with it. And luckily enough, like I said, I was able to get some stuff through Best Buy, so I was okay. But it was a task, dude. It was brutal back then. It was crazy. So, okay. Yeah, thanks, Ferret. Yeah. Oh, yo, good luck, Samara. Yeah, good luck. All right, cool, man. So, yeah, they originally, Newegg was a US-based corporation, but then they got bought out, and they turned into a weird company after that, man. I used to solely utilize Newegg for like PC building stuff, tech components, stuff like that, and very shortly after they sold out, I saw what they had turned into, and I haven't really hardly utilized them for very much at all anymore after that. Occasionally I'll see something that they'll sell at a decent price, and I might snag it. You know what I mean? But it's very, very, very rare. Not a big fan of who they are anymore. Haven't been for a long time. Yo, we just read about this the other day. Where, okay, so if you're not aware of like what the Gollum game was, it was basically a hot piece of garbage. This is something that was developed by Daedalic Entertainment. Okay, they actually not too long after they released this game, they were like, okay, we're done developing games. We're just going to be a publisher now. It was a terrible game, and I mean, riddled with issues. Terrible gameplay. It was brutally bad, and apparently, what we read the other day was that there are rumors flying around that their apology they pushed out for how bad the game was actually generated by ChatGPT. So they had AI develop their apology that they put out publicly. So, what is this saying, dude? Yeah, I'm not quite sure either, but yeah, we read about this too. Yeah, this was, I mean, so this is one of the things we also read. I'm not going to deep dive into this because we've already talked about this, but basically they were expected to make this like AAA kind of game on about a 15 million euro or $1 million budget or whatever. I mean, to most of us, we look at that amount of money and we go, oh God, that's a lot of money. And it is, in the grand scheme of things, that's a lot of money. But in the world of AAA development anymore, it's nothing. That's like a drop in the pot, dude. Most AAA games nowadays, I'm not going to dive into that article. We got enough up right now, and we've talked about this before, right? Yeah. Probably couldn't afford him, not with that budget, you know what I mean? Not with everything else they needed to get done. So if you're wanting, a AAA styled game, you've got to understand that like a lot of what it takes to get that done nowadays, budgets are hitting over $200-300 million to get a AAA styled game taken care of. And if you're only putting 15 mil in, you're going to get what you pay for, So I'm not all that surprised. It came off as that a game that didn't have enough resources put into it, Yeah, you're good, Ferret. Yeah. And so, I mean, I don't know what they expected to happen here. I mean, again, $15 million to any one of us is probably going to seem like a lot of money, But in the realm of what AAA games require budget-wise, that's not very much. Now, I mean, you go talk about like an indie developer. An indie developer would look at $15 million and go, oh, I'll take that, and I can turn that into something pretty good, So I think there's two different ways to look at it, right? Oh yeah, Lunico. What's up, dude? What's going on, man? Happy Tuesday, bro. Yeah. Wait, what? I was like, bro, what are you talking about, Deca Marin? I didn't even really. I was like, what is this? Yeah. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Yeah, that was weird. We read that article the other day, and I was like, oh, bro. I mean, it really is going to be kind of sad if that's what happened, because ultimately, if that's the case, if they actually did come out with an apology that was written by ChatGPT, that's a really sad thing, because then for sure that there was actually no emotion behind that, that apology at all. You know, it was just totally fake, man. It sucks. And yeah, Alunico. Yeah, triple the cost nowadays. Absurd. Comparing to the past. Yeah, well, we've talked about that a lot. You want to talk about like 10 years ago, you know, like a decade ago, AAA games were, you know, development times were 3 to 5 years. The budgets were, you know, 100 million to 200 million. Nowadays, you know, you're talking about, I mean, and those were the top AAA games, right? Nowadays, you're talking about AAA time frames for development as like 7-8 years sometimes, and budgets that are, you know, quite often well over 500 million, sometimes even more. You know, we've heard about like GTA 6 is apparently breaking the $1 billion threshold. You know, it's wild nowadays, man. But here's the thing that sucks, dude. Here's the thing that sucks. Oh yeah, fake apologies worse than no? Oh, absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Agreed. No doubt. Here's the thing that is really disgusting is that how many of these AAA games do we see come out all the time that are, you know, and I'll tell you where I have a big issue with it too. You know, the budget's like 400, 500 million, and you know, they're putting 5-6 years of development into it, and then they release it and it's a piece of garbage. You know, thank God for the indie industry. And it's not that we haven't had, this year's actually been pretty filled with good AAA games, but quite often, I mean, dude, we've had a lot of bad ones too. You know, there's always games coming out that are just absolute trash cans, man. And it's like, how are they putting $500 million budgets, $500 million budget into game development? And I'll tell you this, nowadays, only half of that budget's being put into to the development. They're putting the other half into marketing and promotion. And then the game comes out and you can't even hardly play it because it's so terribly optimized. You know, that's the thing that drives me crazy. Drives me absolutely insane. Cyberpunk would be a good indie? What? Bro. I'm not going to get on that rant right now. Don't do that to me, dude. Well, dude, it was like, yeah, this year started out bad and last year was pretty terrible. And, I mean, there's been plenty of examples of bad games this year too. This year's been real weird. There's been a lot of good ones. There's been a lot of bad ones, you know? Well, yeah, Decamarin, I talk about the same thing. My game of the year right now is an indie game, which is Dave the Diver. That's my game of the year right now. Dave the Diver is an absolute banger, dude. No, I don't, Alunico. I don't think it'll be Tears of the Kingdom. I think it's going to be Baldur's Gate 3. I think those are the two currently. Look, we got a couple of months left, right, still for game releases. But I think, personally, that it's going to be between Tears of the Kingdom and Baldur's Gate 3. And I'll tell you, I haven't played either one of them. I've played a little bit of Tears of the Kingdom right now. I've only played a couple days of it. And I will be playing Baldur's Gate 3 starting next month. This is just from somebody that pays a lot of attention to the video gaming industry and everything. I'll tell you why I think Baldur's Gate 3 is going to stand out above something like Tears of the Kingdom. I always get people that... So just let me finish this sentiment before I have people coming at me, okay? I already know what's going to happen here. I think the thing that makes Baldur's Gate 3 stand out over Tears of the Kingdom is that at the core of what Tears of the Kingdom is, it is the core of what Tears of the Kingdom is a game that people have already seen in Breath of the Wild. Now, I know. Hold on, stop typing. Because I know there's a lot of Tears of the Kingdom that is new, that you didn't see in Breath of the Wild, right? I understand that. But the core of what that game is still Breath of the Wild. And nobody can deny that, right? I know there's a lot of new mechanics. I know that it totally revamped the game into something. It's an evolution of Breath of the Wild. I get that. But at the core of what that game is, it's still Breath of the Wild. And I think all I'm talking about is I'm not demeaning the game. I'm not knocking on the game for being that. Breath of the Wild was amazing. And I know Tears of the Kingdom is amazing for many, many people. And I know that it's an evolution in many, many great ways. So I'm not knocking on it for that. I'm just talking about the fact that when it comes to the Game Awards, I think what people are going to, how they'll differentiate between those two will be the fact that Tears of the Kingdom is something that has kind of been seen and experienced before in the core of what the game was from Breath of the Wild. Whereas Baldur's Gate 3 is something entirely fresh and new. You know, yes, there has been Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, but dude, you're talking about games from way back in the day. And Baldur's Gate 3 is new developer for that series, entirely new, you know, like system, gameplay, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. I think that's what sets them apart. I think that's what's going to set them apart when it comes to the awards. Yeah. So I'm not knocking on Tears of the Kingdom at all. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just trying to explain what I think is going to set them apart when it comes to the awards at the end of the year. Now, there are other notable games that need to be in consideration. Hi-Fi Rush has to be in there, dude. For what that game was in the industry, Baldur's Gate 3 looks a lot like Divinity Sin 2. Could say the same about Baldur's Gate 3. Maybe so. Maybe so. Because yeah, I mean they did the Divinity games, right? So maybe so. It's yeah, I mean you're not wrong there, I guess. I didn't really think about it like that. I mean they definitely are an evolution off of what they had done previously from those titles. No doubt. I mean, that's what set the table for them to be able to know what to do with Baldur's Gate 3 and how to do it so well. You know? You're not necessarily wrong there. I didn't think about that. Yeah. So, good point. Good point. There are other titles that deserve to be up there in the talks. They're not going to be winning. Not when Tears of the Kingdom and Baldur's Gate 3. I think it could really go either way, to be honest. I think it could go either way. I think either Tears of the Kingdom or Baldur's Gate 3, either one could win. I don't think there are any other games right now that stand up in, you know, at the same level of either one of those games. I will also say, though, I don't think that we've ever seen another game at the same level as Baldur's Gate 3 in what they've done with that game. That's another reason why I don't necessarily see something like Tears of the Kingdom. And what I'm talking about is like how free will it is in the options that it gives you. I think that's what I'm kind of, you know, I think that's one of those things that's really going to set it apart as well. What that game gives you as far as like options to do in the world, it is something that we haven't really seen before. You know, it's a very, very wild thing. You're not constricted. I think it's a very interesting and industry defining, industry changing kind of experience. For everybody, developers as well as game players, for what I know of Baldur's Gate 3. And I'll have more of an idea of how I feel about that. It's just what I know so far. I haven't played it yet. So we'll be playing it next month. I'll have a better idea of how to express that and how much I feel about, you know, the extent of that after I play it. But I do think that's one of the big things about that game that it might set it apart a little bit too, you know. There are other games like dude, I honestly think you cannot leave Hi-Fi Rush out of the mix. You're talking about a AAA dev in today's gaming that dropped a game at a $30 price point shadow dropped it, didn't feel like they needed to market it or anything, and that game's a banger, dude. You know, shout out to Tango. It was a very refreshing thing to see a AAA company do, and that game is fun, dude. Hi-Fi Rush was a lot of fun. For a company also that has never been known to do any kind of games like that, they're known for doing like horror-esque thriller kind of games. To do something like Hi-Fi Rush was awesome. And they nailed it, dude. It was so good. And at less than half of what most AAA games go for nowadays, it was really refreshing, dude. It was a great game. And I think it has to be at least nominated for those reasons, you know? I would love to see an indie game take Game of the Year. It's not going to happen. But I honestly, for a game like Dave the Diver, I was absolutely just blown away by Dave the Diver. I played 55 hours of that game. Every single day I played it, I was presented with a new mechanic or something new in the game that I hadn't gotten to see or experience before. It was a ton of fun. It was hilarious. I don't know, man. The game just blew me away. And at like a $20 price point, and I still had plenty of stuff I could continue to do in that game, even though I like quote unquote beat it or whatever, you know? And so I would love to see a game like Dave the Diver make its way into the Game of the Year contention. But, you know, it's so hard for the indies to do that. I don't know. What are we talking about here? I know there was a fuss coming from other major dev studios, something between the lines of, yeah, so I covered that, Decamarin. Hold on, look. I think that's a stupid sentiment from other developers, and I'll give you my breakdown of that. Look, before the game even released, I had addressed that because I started seeing that in the industry. One second. Let's see here. Let me find this, dude. Yeah, here we go. So this is from the YouTube channel. There you go. So it's basically like there were all these devs freaking out. Like, nobody should be looking at Baldur's Gate 3 as the standard for what gaming should be or RPG should be moving forward. Don't expect our games to be that way. And you know what? I don't want to play any game from any developer that came out and expressed those sentiments. This is basically what that article right there that I linked in chat gets at, okay? If you don't look at what Larian has done with Baldur's Gate 3 and applaud them for, and don't get me wrong, they're a massive studio. They're like 450 employees strong working on that game, and they did it the right way, okay? Well, understand this. They did it the right way. That game was in early access for how long, dude? That game was in early access for how long? And the important thing about that game being in early access was that it provided them with the opportunity, which more developers, in my opinion, need to be, tapping into this same kind of, opportunity that Larian did, was listening and incorporating important feedback from their fan base, right? So Larian not only had a good core for their game in the first place, but they put it in early access so people could like try out the first act, and they could get feedback from their fans and the people that were playing early access version of the game. And they incorporated a lot of, stuff, feedback. They were listening, they were incorporating, fixing, doing things for the game that the community and fan base wanted to see. And that's important. And that's smart too. So, they made this amazing game. Then all these other devs come out, and don't get me wrong, nobody should expect a studio of 20 people to be making something on the same scale of something like Baldur's Gate 3 that Larian has done. That's a very tough task, right? Baldur's Gate 3 was in development for a long time. There's a massive amount of people working on that game, huge budget, but they did it the right way. And they made an amazing game that on many different levels has set the standard and some expectations of what we should be getting in different areas and facets of RPGs in the industry moving forward. You cannot deny that. That's not a bad thing either, right? You want to see evolution in gaming, and evolution done the right way. Now, the thing that these other developers have to understand is that, and us as gamers have to understand as well, is that, you know, not every studio is going to be able to hit all those standard and benchmarks, right? Big studios, maybe. But this is a very unique situation. They nailed it, you know? But having something for all these other studios to reach for and strive towards is important. That's progression, right? That's progression. And that's what we want to see in the industry. We want to see better, you know? And if you hear a studio go, oh, well, don't expect us to do that, get wrecked, dude. I don't want to play your games. If you're not striving to do better and you're not striving for the new standards that have been put in place by somebody that has done something very, very well in the same genre of games you're making, you're failing, right? In my opinion, you're failing. I'm not necessarily expecting you to hit all the same exact areas and benchmarks and standards that maybe Baldur's Gate 3 and Larian has done, but it should be giving you something to reach towards, right? And so instead of a lot of these other developers coming out with that sentiment and saying, yo, we're going to do our best to strive towards the same, you know, expectations that have been set and standards that have been set by a game like Baldur's Gate 3, but we're not as big of a studio. So, you know, understand that we might not be hitting all the same marks, you know, things like most of those studios didn't say that. They just went, don't expect us to do this. Don't expect our game to be that good. You know, it's like, well, fine, then get wrecked, dude. You know, I don't even want to see what you have to offer then. It's not like they were trying to like tell people that they're going to do their best and, you know, maybe hinder expectations a little bit because they're not as big of a studio. They were just blatantly being like, you know, nobody should expect our game to be Baldur's Gate 3, you know? It's like, what the crap? What's wrong with you, man? Yeah, Decamarian, yeah, for sure. Yeah. But, I mean, I go into pretty good detail. That was like the first time I'd ever seen that article. Right. Exactly, dude. My sentiment exactly, yeah. And that's why that article right there on YouTube was, you know, whenever I first came across that, you know, those different developers throwing a fit, it was like, they're totally addressing it the wrong way, you know, in my opinion. There's always going to be, you know, as we move forward, and this has happened quite often in the history of gaming, you know, there's always going to be evolution and progression. And this is, you know, why you see so many companies emulate what other companies do very well, right? Because if somebody does something that's successful, other companies emulate it and make it their own. You know, they style it in their own way, but it's really emulating what other companies do well because that's the way the industry works, right? If somebody else has shown that they've set the bar, they've shown something they can do something very well, other companies emulate it because it's been successful. So why would all these companies look at Baldur's Gate 3 and go, oh, well, we're not going to do that. Don't expect our game to be that way. Whenever everybody now knows that, like, this is what people want out of RPGs, right? So why would other developers not do their very best to emulate it? Even most of us are going to be understanding of the fact that not most companies are going to be able to hit all those marks, right? Why would you not do your very best to emulate and in your own way try to strive for those same benchmarks of how well Larian has done with Baldur's Gate 3 in so many different areas, right? That doesn't make sense to me, man. It's weird. Yeah? Blew me away, man. Let's go one more page here, see what else we can get into. Looks like Crew Motorfest is already being discounted. Hasn't even been out a month yet by Ubi. That, you know what that means, right? This game's not doing very well. We'll take a quick peek. That probably means that game's not retailing very well. Spider-Man 2 is almost out, man. Wait, what? No way. But they were getting ready to release this, right? Okay, looks like X Defiance getting delayed again. Yeah, Pac-Man 99 has been shut down and delisted from the... Well, it's the Nintendo stuff, right? I think we read about this. Yeah, the Switch Online stuff. Yeah, we already read about that. That's what you need to know. It's gone. You can't get it anymore. If you didn't get it prior, it's now done. You can't get it anymore. It's over. So there's not much more to talk about on that front. We fleshed this out yesterday or the day before that you needed to grab it if you still could. But at this point, it's now done. It's gone. You can't get it anymore. We talked about the Telltale Games layoff thing. I've got a great article coming up, dude, about layoffs in the industry and everything on the YouTube channel. It should be up tonight or by tomorrow. So get ready for it. It's really, really good. In my opinion, anyways. Oh, Jesus. That's one of those things I need to make a note of. Hold on. How did I not mark that? Yeah, okay. Yeah, so sorry. I had to make a note real quick. There we go. So we heard about this too, and we've talked about this recently. Apparently, Naughty Dog is remastering The Last of Us Part 2. We fleshed this out here recently, so I'm not going to pull up this article, but that's a pretty big turnoff for me. It was already, you know, a lot of people were like, why did they feel like they needed to remaster The Last of Us Part 1 when the remaster didn't look all that much better, really? But that game was 10 years old, and it was like, okay, whatever. But now they're remastering The Last of Us Part 2. That game's 3 years old, yo. That game's 3 years old, and they're remastering it. You know what that tells me about Naughty Dog? They're scared to make anything new. And they'd rather try to just squeeze money out of people that doesn't really need to be done. That's what that tells me about Naughty Dog. There's no reason to be remastering a game that's 3 years old. Absolutely not. That's really disgusting, in my opinion. I hate to see this kind of crap. It's not the first time we've seen it happen either. This has become a really bad trend with like AAA devs, where instead of trying to you know, give us new content. They just go, oh wait, our game's 3 years old, let's remaster it. It's really gross, dude. It's really gross. I mean, on the flip side of that, you get Rockstar re-releasing Red Dead 1, a 13-year-old game, and they're not even willing to remaster it or even increase the frame rate of it as a 13-year-old game, and they sell it for $50. So, I mean, you know what I mean? Which one's the lesser evil, really? They're both disgusting. I don't know if it's been officially confirmed yet, but I've seen stuff everywhere already about it, and I'm pretty sure it's coming. I don't think Naughty Dog's officially confirmed it yet, but we'll keep track. And I mean, if that's the case, though, and I think that what did I read? Where did I read that at yesterday? It seemed pretty solid. Obviously, I mean, if it's not confirmed from the dev themselves, there's always going to be grain of salt stuff, right? But this is kind of coming up everywhere now, and usually this kind of thing, if it's that prominent, it's a pretty safe bet that is the case. And if it is the case, it's gross, dude. But I mean, both sides of that, like I talked about, whether it be Naughty Dog remastering a game that's 3 years old, disgusting, or Rockstar re-releasing a 13-year-old game with nothing done to it at a $50 price point, also gross. You know, I don't know. I just don't. These flipping companies, dude. No, I don't think it's officially confirmed yet. Don't think it's official, but I'm sure find out pretty quick. We'll find out officially pretty quick, probably. If it's been leaked and it is true, they're not going to be able to contain it too long, I don't think, you know. Never had any Nintendo consoles, never touched the Nintendo universe so far. Oh, man. See, I've had Nintendo forever, but I'll tell you this, dude. I see Nintendo being like the scummiest console out there. Yeah, it's really like it's the only console I still buy into, but mostly really because I have kids, dude. Yeah, so I'm not a fan of Nintendo, dude. I think they're disgusting, but I still have their products because I have kids. That's a tough thing. They're really, you know, they've got this niche segment of like family friendly, being the family friendly, like kid friendly console, really, you know. And I've gotten to where, you know, as somebody who traditionally gamed across all platforms, I mean, I've had all consoles. I've always been on PC. I've gotten to where I've moved away from console a lot. I'm not a fan of console, and we'll talk about that in one of these articles coming up. But the Nintendo stuff, dude, ooh, they're gross, dude. I'm not a fan. I don't play much of their stuff. My kids play a lot of their stuff. Okay, let's go, dude. It's been lots of talking already. Let's get in here. Let's turn off this. There we go. Turn off the music, man. Let's get into these articles. Man, I should fill up my coffee real quick. Yeah, let me fill up my coffee and then we'll get into all these articles. Like 1 minute tops. Hold on. All right, let's go. So, sorry, I need more coffee, you know. We got a lot of articles to get through here, so I need to make sure I had a refresh going, dude. I was almost out. Ubisoft FPS X Defiant has been delayed again following a public test. So this thing got delayed a little bit because it didn't pass console tests, right? Coffee hype? That's right, dude. Here, I got you, dog. That's my mug on a mug, dog. Shout out to Pinky for putting the moving spoon in the top of my head there. So this got delayed. It was supposed to come out a little bit ago, I think. Got delayed because it didn't pass console tests. And then it was getting ready to come out again, and now it's delayed again. I mean, look, this, to be fair, isn't really a big surprise coming out of Ubisoft, right? So, Ubi's delayed its upcoming free-to-play FPS X Defiant again following a recent public test session. According to the game's development team, the beta exposed some issues that have to be addressed before the game's preseason can be released. Quote, thank you to everyone who participated in our recent public test session and continues to stand alongside us as we build X Defiant. A message on the game's official Twitter account reads, the PTS once again showed us that your appreciation for our fast-paced gunplay, uniquely crafted maps, objective-driven modes, and iconic faction roster. But it also surfaced some inconsistencies in the game experience that we need to address prior to launching our preseason. We've made the hard decision to delay the preseason of X Defiant. The team will continue working to address these issues and testing them to make sure we deliver on our goal of being a best-in-class arcade shooter. We will share more information about preseason and testing as it comes. Thanks again for the support. We're working hard to make something really special, and we couldn't do it without you. The delay may come as a blessing in disguise for Ubi, as the game's previously planned October launch would have been placed in the middle of a busy release schedule, as well as just weeks before the release of the similar Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, right? Yeah, in June, Ubisoft stated that the X Defiant was expected to launch later in the summer, with the final open session taking place on June 21st through the 23rd, after which the game would be released. By September, it was clear that the summer window was going to be missed. Executive producer Mark Rubin said the October release appeared likely due to the game failing Microsoft and Sony's console certification tests. Latest delay doesn't give a proposed release window, meaning it's not clear if it's a brief setback or something that will require a lengthier process to resolve. Let's be fair here, right? With Ubi, what'll probably happen is they'll be like, okay, it's time for X Defiant again, and then they'll have like a 2-hour showcase for it, and then the next day they'll go, we decided to delay it again. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, dude, but like, it feels like this kind of thing has become the standard for Ubi. You know, they do this all the time. You want to talk about one of their most recent examples of something like this happening is Skull and Bones, dude. You know, Skull and Bones is a game that has had like 8 flipping delays at this point. Last year, around this time, actually, last year, they had a dedicated like 1.5 hour long showcase for that game because they were definitely going to release it finally after like 4 or 5 delays. And then after that dedicated showcase, which we watched here in the channel, they delayed it again, and they've delayed it again and again. You know, I don't know what's up with Ubi. They've definitely had their share of you know, internal issues and everything over the past you know, 3 to 4 years. We actually read an article the other day where about 5 of their top executives have now been arrested on what are apparently accusations of sexual misconduct while they were employed at Ubi. There's all kinds of crazy stuff that's been going on at that development company, you know, and they seem like one of those companies that has had the hardest time pushing out content that they're not used to doing, you know. Anything that is not like Far Cry or Assassin's Creed or Tom Clancy stuff. You know, it seems like they have a really, really hard time getting that content out. I don't know what it is, man, but this just looks like another example of that same kind of issue with Ubi. It's crazy. And on another front for Ubi, they are discounting the Crew Motorfest less than a month after its release. Also offering a second free trial period that lets players sample 5 hours of the game. I think this is a pretty good indicator that this game is not retailing well. It's probably what's going on here. Ubi has announced plans to discount the Crew Motorfest and offer a second free trial period less than a month after the game's release. The third entry in the open world racing series arrived on September 14th, alongside a free trial which ran until September 17th. During this period, players were able to sample the first 5 hours of the game for free before deciding whether to purchase it. The new trial, which is running from October 10th through the 20th, will again let players try 5 hours of the game and carry over their progress should they choose to buy it. The Crew Motorfest discounts and their availability will vary depending on the platform as follows. Ubisoft Store on PC special discount from the 10th through the 24th of this month, and 20% off on Standard Edition, 15% off on Gold and Ultimate Editions. PS4 and PS5 is the 11th through the 18th of this month. Same discounts. Xbox Series X, S, and 1, the 13th through the 16th of this month, and just 20% off on the Standard Edition. Epic Game Store for PC, special discount from the 14th through the 21st of this month, and just 20% off on the Standard Edition. The Crew Motorfest Gold Edition includes the Game of the Year 1 pass, which will gradually unlock up to 25 new cars over the course of the title's first year. Ultimate Edition includes the Year 1 pass and Ultimate Pack, which contains many exclusive customization items for the player's avatar and vehicles, according to Ubi. First entry in the series, The Crew, was released in 2014 and was followed by The Crew 2 in 2018. They've claimed in June 2021 the series had attracted over 30 million players since launch. I think this is a pretty good indicator that this game is not retailing very well right now. Let me see. What's the Metacritic on this? Respectable. It's about the same across all platforms. PC 76, Xbox 75, PS5 75. User scores are a little bit better. So it's not like it's bad. Just might not be retailing well. Which, I mean, we've seen happen, right? One of the games, a couple of games that come to mind for me right now in this same kind of category would be something like Guardians of the Galaxy. It was supposed to be a pretty solid game. Didn't retail very well. As well as something like, what was it? Fire Axis's actual XCOM styled Marvel game. What was that? Why am I blanking the name of that, dude? Was it Sons? What was that, dude? Midnight Suns. There it is. S-U-N-S, not S-O-N-S. Midnight Suns, same thing, dude. It's supposed to be a pretty solid game and just didn't retail well. Could be one of those occasions, man. You know? But I don't know that they would be going heavy on discounts right now if they weren't trying to get people in to buy this game. If people were buying it at its current price point, they probably wouldn't be doing this, I don't think. Here we go. Creep Show video game to be shown at the Indie Horror Showcase this month. When is the Indie Horror Showcase? That's what we need to know. Dread Central video game publishing arm Dread XP will be unveiling a first look at its video game adaptation of the horror anthology Creep Show later this month at the Indie Horror Showcase. First revealed last year, Darkstone Digital And Dread XP are creating a game based on the Shudder television show version of Creepshow that horror FX legend Greg Nicotero leads, likely to follow a similar format to Dread XP's Dread X Collection series, where several indie horror game developers create short experiences for an anthology title. Nicotero has been keen to see the series expanded to different mediums, as the show has now clocked up 4 seasons on AMC's horror streaming platform, Shudder. It's also received a comic book adaptation of Skybound. One of the most exciting parts of this is that the Creepshow itself was first devised as a cinematic homage to the EC comics of the 1950s and was created by two titans of terror in the form of Stephen King and Dawn of the Dead director George A. Romero. Together they spawned 3 films which Nicotero worked on. The original Creepshow is a classic slice of gaudy horror anthology goodness. Even the first sequel provides some genuine highlights. The Indie Horror Showcase presented by Dread XP, Horror Visuals, and The Mix will premiere on October 19th at 10 a.m. Pacific. That's at noon for us. So might be a lunchtime watch for us. Oh, bro. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah. What day is that on? That's next Thursday. Okay. That's when we'll get our first taste of Creepshow, the game, alongside more indie horror game goodness. That will not be... Oh, wait, what? Talking about that down there? Yeah, that's cool, dude. Yeah, nice. Yeah, very neat. I probably wouldn't have even noticed that had you not pointed it out, Decamara. Nice, dude. Yeah, very cool. That day, the 19th, is not going to be a super long stream day, by the way. Yeah. That G-Wiz knowledge, dude. Nice. So the 19th, I've got some stuff going on. It'll be a pretty regular stream day, but it won't be stupid long or anything either. So just be ready for the fact that I might not go like 8 or 9 hours. It might be a little bit of a shorter day, but we will definitely watch this. So I'm gonna bookmark this, and we might, depending on how long this goes, we might end on this that day. Okay. That might be the play, depending on how long this goes, because this will start at noon for us. And if it's like an hour or 2 long, then we might just end on this, because I have some stuff going on that afternoon, that evening, some family stuff. So just know that, all right? Best October Prime Day gaming chair deals happening today. If you're in the market for some gaming chairs, it looks like they've got some decent discounts here. They've got the links for them, another item right there. So anybody that sits around very often, like this guy, your ergonomics, your comfortability in the chair are pretty crucial, you know? And so I think that it makes sense. Same thing as like a bed, right? Like your bed, your mattress is a very important thing to make sure that you're comfortable, you're sleeping as well as possible. You spend a lot of your life in your bed, yeah? So kind of the same thing. If you spend a lot of time in a chair at a computer, it makes sense to have a chair that presents you with a very comfortable, ergonomic kind of fit for you if you're going to be in that position for hours on end, right? It's only going to be more beneficial for you in the long run. So I'll link this for you if you're interested. You might be able to get some decent Prime Day deals on maybe some gaming chairs, okay? AMD adds system lag monitoring to its Adrenaline overlay for games that support Anti-Lag Plus. So the RX 7000 series users now have another metric to fret over. Fantastic. By the way, this is probably Jedi Survivor, and I highly recommend staying away from this game. I've got an article that'll be up later today on the YouTube channel about basically Respawn and EA already greenlighting Jedi 3, whenever this game is still a hot, broken piece of crap on at least PC. And it's so sad to see that kind of thing happen. Greenlighting games whenever they're the you know, the one that they just released is still broken, unoptimized. If there's anything in the industry that should tell you you shouldn't be supporting certain developers in you know, I think it's that kind of thing. You know, whenever they're talking about greenlighting and working on the next iteration in a series, whenever the previous one is broken and they haven't fixed it yet across all platforms, that's a pretty sad thing, and that's just a testament to how many of these companies are leaning so heavily on their name or the name that might be on the box of their game, like Star Wars, and the fact that they've made money off of it, even though it was a hot piece of garbage. And so there'll be an article up later on the YouTube channel about that. AMD's software division is working overtime at the moment, along with expanding its fluid motion frames technology to RX 6000 series graphics cards. A neat feature has been added to the game overlay in the latest preview drivers for RX 7000 series cards. In games that support and use AMD's Anti-Lag Plus feature, you can now show off the system lag of your gaming PC. 12 current games that support Anti-Lag Plus, including Fortnite, Overwatch 2, and Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Gross. As reported by CapFrameX, this isn't some made-up number. It's a genuine measure of the length of time between the game's engine starting the whole process for generating a new frame and the moment when the GPU has finished rendering it. This includes how long the operating system spends polling hardware for input changes, the game engine running through all of its internal routines, the issuing of the frame, and the driver compiling the instructions for the graphics chip. That all sounds like a lot of stuff, but fortunately, it all happens in a blink of an eye. Yeah. The bulk of the system lag is down to the GPU actually rendering the frame. That's assuming nothing is amiss, of course. Take a look at the example which CapFrameX is showing. You can see that the average frame rate is 117 frames per second, which means the average frame time is 8.55 milliseconds. So how can the system lag be 23 milliseconds? In this case, it just means the game isn't updating every single frame with mouse or keyboard inputs. The graphics card is churning out frames very quickly, effectively one every 8 milliseconds or so, but only every third frame shown on the screen will have been updated with new input information. For a relatively slow-paced game like the one shown, this is perfectly fine, but if you are a keen esports competitive gamer, then having a low system lag value becomes more important. If your PC is running as best as it possibly can, there's little you can do about it. Professional gamers will use every trick in the book to bring down the system lag, but most of it is in the hands of the game developers. Yep, in other words, just don't worry about it. If you're an NVIDIA graphics card user and feeling a bit left out, then fear not. You can use software such as FrameView or Afterburner with Rivia Tuner. So Afterburner is by MSI. I use MSI Afterburner quite often. If I'm playing a game, you'll see me do it every once in a while. If I'm playing a game that seems to be having some issues, I'll pull up my MSI Afterburner and Rivia Tuner overlay to give people an idea and give myself an idea of how the game is performing and what it's like utilizing in my hardware and stuff like that. And it's a free piece of software. Many people use it. It's a great piece of software. It not only gives you those options, but it allows you to maybe do some tweaking to your, graphics card as far as like overclocking, undervolting, stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's a very good piece of software. Highly recommend if you're into that kind of stuff, look into MSI Afterburner and also installing Rivia Tuner with it. It'll give you the option to install Rivia Tuner statistics server with the MSI Afterburner software. I recommend installing it with it. To show the same number, NVIDIA calls it a PC latency, PCL, on your monitor. Like the Anti-Lag Plus requirement for NVIDIA users to see the relevant latency numbers, the game must support its reflex feature. But if you're Team AMD, then you'll need to have a Radeon RX 7000 series card, be using the latest preview drivers, which you can download from this link here, and have anti-lag plus enabled in the game. My advice is to not bother, as it's just another number to fret over. It's useful for hardware testers and coders, but for everyone else, it's probably just a distraction. It just depends, you know. Yeah, if you're a techie and a gamer, this would probably be some good info for you. But if you need any of those links, there's the article right there in chat. Okay, this shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, I don't think. Activision Blizzard games should hit Game Pass in 2024. The acquisition looks set to complete later this week. Yep. So I actually figured it would probably be done like last week, but apparently it is going to be happening this week and very soon probably. So the acquisition of Activision Blizzard by Microsoft is about to finally come to fruition. This will be both, Decamarin. This will be across Game Pass as a whole. Yep, Game Pass as a whole. Now, the difference being, right, so what you'll have to take into consideration here, and some things will probably change as we move forward with Microsoft owning, well, that's what I was about to talk about. You have to understand, there's going to be differences, right? So, is World of Warcraft currently a console game? No, it's not. So you have to understand that while right now what Microsoft is doing is going to be taking the portfolio of what they're gathering from this acquisition and pushing it out to their streaming service, their subscription service, right? What they'll be doing moving forward, obviously, is working on a lot of these games that aren't necessarily multi-platform and getting them implemented in that way. That's going to be a big direction for Microsoft in trying to get done with this portfolio of games they're acquiring. Because obviously, right, most of Activision titles historically have been console, and most of Blizzard's titles historically have been PC, right? So what Xbox and Microsoft is going to be doing is trying to take this big portfolio and make it as multi-platform as possible, right? But it's going to take time. So it's not just immediately going to be that way. It's going to take development time. Having a user on Blizzard servers does not mean transferring your data to Microsoft servers. That's the case for Steam currently. Well, yeah, I mean, so they're probably not going to change a whole lot of that, right? Right. Yeah. If you run D4 off of Steam, you cannot retrieve your data if you launch the game with, right. Well, I think it's just going to depend on how Microsoft wants to handle everything. You know what I mean? That's really what a lot of it's going to come down to. Because they probably won't want to change too much of it, but you know, they are going to be the parent company now. And if Microsoft, and to be fair, I don't think that Microsoft likes to mess with too much process, but this is a massive, and we've never seen an acquisition like this, right? We've never seen anything to this scope of an acquisition in the gaming industry before, ever. This is uncharted territory, really. And so, random mode time, by the way. Let's get this random mode in here and we'll continue this conversation. I think what... Oh, so close to giving out a free sub, dude. Oh, my God. Dang it. Try to get a free sub, guys. Get your random modes in there. That's the reason I play. I can't give myself a sub. I play because if I win, I give out free subs. So I think that's what we have to kind of wait and see what this is going to look like whenever they complete it, right? So you're not wrong. There's a lot to consider on that front of Nice, dude. There's a lot to consider on that front. I'm sure they've been juggling around the different options they have for quite a while because they knew this acquisition was going to come to fruition for them, and they've been working on figuring out probably the most seamless way for them to integrate all of this as a business as well as for their consumers and for the services that they have underneath them as well, right? So I would assume that they're probably not going to change too much about it, but you never really know. If they do, it'll be a slow rollout, obviously, and so we're just gonna have to wait and see how it plays. This is kind of an uncharted kind of thing. Yo, True, what's up? Yo, you looking very cool today. Look at that, dude. Yeah, cool cat. Cool cat, True. Yo, did you see all the I tagged you in a bunch of clips last night, by the way, in the clips channel of the Discord. So yeah, I mean, dude, I don't really know. I think that's the best any of us can really assume about this situation is that they'll probably try and keep it as uncomplicated as possible for consumers, people that are already on these platforms and everything. They'll try to keep it pretty streamlined, but we'll have to just see what happens, man. Yeah. Nice, Davey. But the game's hitting Game Pass. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that one of the biggest initial plays for Microsoft and Xbox in getting this acquisition done was getting a lot of these titles onto Game Pass as soon as possible. Now, obviously, like we talked about, there are going to be certain games that maybe won't be on Game Pass initially, or they won't be on multi-platform Game Pass. It'll be on one or the other because, again, traditionally Blizzard games are more of PC-based games and more Activision games are more console-based games. We'll just have to see how it plays. But they're going to be working on trying to make all these titles as multi-platform as possible moving forward. Yeah. Yeah, Decameron. Yeah, I mean, I think there's room for concern, right? I'm right there with you. I think, my entire stance, yeah, Ferret, no worries, dude. Yeah, nice, bro, nice. My stance the whole time was that Sony came off as the real anti-competitive one in this scenario. They wanted to talk trash the whole time about how this was anti-competitive, but really, they're the ones that have always sat on top of Xbox and tried to not have the industry change and they don't want things to change. They want us to keep sitting on top of Xbox, kind of coasting into the sunset off of their hardware and software sales like they always have done. And Microsoft has had to become very inventive and creative in the way that they've been able to compete in this industry with primarily, obviously both the other console competitors, but primarily it's been PlayStation, right? Nintendo is always set in their little bubble over there. But anytime, and I've said this always from the get-go of whenever we found out that they were trying to buy Activision Blizzard last year, I've always expressed the sentiment. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, what business, what form of business you're talking about. Any kind of acquisition, especially on the scale of something like this big, there's always going to be forms of anti-competitiveness that come along with it, right? But you can't help but also address the potentials of good competitive side of it that comes along too, right? So, in my opinion, what this does is this has to prompt Sony to be better about what they do as a competitive part of the industry in bumping up against Xbox, right? They can't do what they've always done and just sitting up there and basically following what Xbox has done as being an inventive corporation to remain competitive. Now it's Sony's turn. Now Sony and PlayStation have to figure out ways to to be more inventive and creative in the industry. So it prompts competitiveness as well, I think, right? There are always pros and cons, dude, to every situation. So I don't think you can look at the entire situation as just being anti-competitive, which obviously is why they had to go through all the hurdles of, like, you know, these governmental agencies that were, you know, presented as roadblocks, and discussing the different ins and outs of why this should or should not happen as an acquisition across the world, right? Because there's a lot to do with, you know, is it going to be good or bad for the industry and the other, you know, competitors in the industry. Honestly, I've always said from the get-go, I thought it seemed like overall a better thing for the industry, but there's always that potential for it to turn bad. I hope it doesn't. But the potential's always there. Here's my thing. One of the other big things for me in the first place was Activision Blizzard. I'm not a big fan of. I don't play Blizzard games anymore, and it was one of my favorite developers growing up. I don't play their games. I don't even care if they're free games. You know, some of my favorite games of all time are Blizzard games. Diablo 1, Diablo 2, stuff like that. You know what I mean? And I don't play their games anymore. I think they've turned into an absolutely horrible, terrible flipping company. And personal choice, I don't support them. I hate them for what they've become. And one of my big things was being hopeful that Microsoft could come in and buy Activision Blizzard and turn them back into something that resembled a decent game developer again for myself. You know, I think that Bobby Kotick needs to be fired, who is the top of Activision Blizzard, you know. And Sony still does do that, yeah. That plays into it a little bit. I don't think you're necessarily wrong there. I don't think you're wrong about that. But you know, it's also been a matter, I think, of Sony has always coasted. They've and while you've seen, I think, especially over the past like decade, it's hard to deny the fact that, you know, Xbox has been the more creative and inventive part of that comparison. They've had to find ways to be competitive, and it's been industry changing for them. These different services that they offer now and everything. And Sony is very adamant about not wanting to change. They don't want to conform to the way that the industry is changing. And a lot of that catalyst behind that are things that Xbox has done, you know? And I think that's one of the big things that scared Sony about this entire acquisition, was that they knew that it would change the game for them, you know? So I don't think you're wrong either. Yeah. Yeah, that's my hope too. You know, I think you can probably tell by the way I address the industry. I'm always looking for it to keep progressing in a healthy way as much as possible. I don't, I really, I want the industry to continue to be something that takes care of us as the consumer and as gaming enthusiasts. It's not about the businesses not making money, and it's about the right businesses making money, right? As long as they continue to do things the right way, take care of us, take care of their employees, keep making quality content, we'll support them, right? That's what it's about. But when they lose sight of those things, they need to drown, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm right there with you, man. Yeah, I feel that. Yep. It shouldn't be a surprise that people expected, that like these games would be hitting fairly soon, though, in Game Pass, probably early 2024, right? Customer support. See, I haven't dealt with like Xbox or PlayStation consoles for a number of years now, to be honest. I kind of fell out of the console game. And a lot of it has to do with being pissed off at the console uh, realm of gaming for their lack of backwards compatibility, making consumers pay to play online, which I find disgusting. Things of that nature, I has just become a very, very big turnoff for me, to where I've become almost solely a PC gamer. You know, um, oh, for real? Really? That's interesting, dude. See, a lot of the other Sony's products and stuff, I feel like they have pretty good customer service. As a matter of fact, dude, what was it? A number of years ago, I bought a Sony TV, and within about a month of having the TV, it just started bugging out on me. And this has been a number of years ago, though, and it's not their gaming stuff, but I had always heard good things about Sony's overall support, customer support, and I'd had good experience too. The TV just started bugging out. They sent somebody out the next day after I got a hold of customer support, because it was still under warranty. They had a repairman come out to my home, check out the TV, tried to replace the board, didn't fix it, and he was like, "I'm just going to contact Sony. They need to send you a new TV." Boom, had a new TV there in 2 days. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think everybody's going to respectively maybe have a little bit of a different experience on those fronts, but customer support is incredibly, it's something that I think that I actually promote customer support and warranty, and something that people need to understand that that's something you're buying into quite often when you purchase products as well, right? It cannot be overstated how important that is. As far as like customers' quality of life, right? It's basically what I'll tie that into. Are you getting good customer support? Is the product you're buying into, is it consumer friendly? Meaning that like it's easy for you to maybe repair and things of that nature if you need to, if it's simple kinds of things. Stuff like that, right? So I think that it's an important thing for people to understand that, you might be able to buy into a similar product at a lower price point, but it might be because the company you're buying into is actual balls when it comes to helping you get anything done within the warranty period for, your product having some kind of malfunction. Dude, I know people that have bought $1,000, multi-$1,000 computers from certain, pre-built manufacturers. And when it comes down to them like having an issue with hardware failures, trying to get that company to admit that, yeah, it's a hardware failure, pay to get the PC back, and then how long it takes to get the repair done. Dude, they've been without PCs for like half a year and stuff. You know what I mean? It's insane. It's really crazy. That's why I think it's very important for people to understand it's not just the physical product you're buying into, but that peace of mind of the guarantee, the actual customer support and all that stuff too. I 100% am right there with you, dude. No doubt about it. And just because it's a well-known name doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to have the best customer support either. I think that it's important for people to research, reviews about people's experience with those companies in modern times, But it's important, especially for people that don't have the aptitude or want to like dive in and like fix products themselves. If it seems like something that is relatively easy, there are a lot of people that just are a little bit hesitant about doing anything for themselves, And if you're not willing to do that stuff, you absolutely need to know that you've got a quality product to buy into and customer support to buy into. I believe that. So when speculation rife that Microsoft expects to finalize its purchase of Activision Blizzard this week, and Modern Warfare 3 out in a month, which we're already having beta weekends. This coming weekend is the multi-platform beta weekend for Modern Warfare 3, by the way. People have been wondering when Activision's games will start appearing on Microsoft's Game Pass. According to a tweet from Activision Blizzard, it should be sometime next year. The entire debacle of Microsoft's attempts to buy Activision Blizzard feels it has been clogging up gaming news for years. In fact, it all started only last January. Yeah. Could come to a close this week. Yeah. It's been going on for a while, dude. It has. Quote, as we continue to work towards regulatory approval of the Microsoft deal, said Activision Blizzard on X. We've been getting some questions whether our upcoming and recently launched games will be available via Game Pass. The Verge reported on Friday that Microsoft is getting ready to close the roughly $69 billion deal with October 13th thought to be the big day. Of course, this is all being held back by the UK Competition and Markets Authority, which is the one international regulator that managed to decisively block the deal. However, being the UK CMA, it did it in the most cack-handed way, blathering on about unfair market control of cloud gaming. Yeah, it ended up resulting in a really weird situation where basically Ubisoft is going to be handling all of the streaming rights for all of those games that come out of Activision Blizzard for the next 15 years. It's a weird situation, dude. So even Microsoft, who owns Activision Blizzard, is going to have to license the games from Ubisoft that it owns to put on its own streaming service. It's such a weird situation, dude. But Ubisoft has to pay a big lump sum up front to Microsoft to have this deal happen in the first place. I don't know, bro. We'll find out more and more as this ends up coming to a close, but it's a weird situation. So, quote, while we do not have plans to put Modern Warfare 3 or Diablo 4 into Game Pass this year, continues that Activision tweet, once the deal closes, we expect to start working with Xbox to bring our titles to more players around the world. So when? We anticipate that we would begin adding games into Game Pass sometime in the course of next year. Oddly slow, if anything. They'll be the same company. They've known they would be been the same company for the last 20 months. Seems strange that it'll take another few months before Microsoft will be hosting what will suddenly become first-party games on its own streaming service. One small cloud hanging over their gray-suited celebrations, the FTC still has an appear in with the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. That decision won't appear until December. Here's the thing. The FTC would have had a better chance of getting something done here had they been able to get this appeal done before the closure of this business acquisition. The fact that they aren't able to get this appeal done until December puts them in a real rough spot. So basically, there's not a whole lot the FTC is going to be able to do here, really, other than hold a grudge, maybe. I don't really think. Should it succeed, it would then become about trying to undo the already sealed deal, which would be a whole nother level of difficulty. Yeah, see, and no one surely believes the FTC has the teeth or the fight in it to win. So the industry shrinks yet again with less competition, fewer major publishers, attempting to outsell each other, and so less choice and worse prices for the gaming public. Doesn't seem like the games industry can be far away from the monstrous and idiotic situation of the music industry in the control of the big four record labels. Certainly seems unlikely that any regulatory bodies will be able to stop it either way. Look, I mean, yeah, so this is the bad part about this is the anti-competitive side of things, right? But look, dude, Activision Blizzard was not a great company in the first place, And Activision Blizzard has had a ton of issues internally. So I think that Microsoft, being a company that has, through its history, had its own share of internal issues that they've had to figure out how to work through and I think become a better business, learn how to conduct itself better internally, have a better culture and stuff. I think they can come in here and make this at least a better place, Activision Blizzard. I think they've got to get rid of Bobby Kotick. I've said that for a long time. It feels like Bobby Kotick, who is the CEO of Activision Blizzard, has been the one perpetual part of this company that has remained throughout all the rest of the people have been fired through all of this debacle from that company. And I think that if Microsoft really wants to get Activision Blizzard into a better light, they've got to get rid of Bobby Kotick. I think that's something that has to happen, and we'll see what comes to there. But I think that, probably Decamaran actually hit on this a little bit earlier. Is, people are like, well, yeah, why aren't all your games hitting Game Pass right away? There's going to be a lot of ins and outs about getting games from the different platforms into Game Pass. It's not something that's traditionally happened, and they're trying to also determine the best way to go about this as a business decisions and everything too. So they'll get it all fleshed out, dude. I think early 2024 we'll start seeing a lot of those games hit Game Pass, and I don't know. I think the nice thing is we'll quit getting just littered with articles about this acquisition in the future. It's finalizing, dude, which is good. Hopefully it'll remain a positive part of the industry and not turn into a big solely anti-competitive thing that goes to the heads of Microsoft and they use for a very negative thing in the industry. I would hate to see that. Let's see here. A field of view slider. Here you go, Vault. Here you go, dude. A field of view slider. Headline Starfield's latest update, dude. So, pull that down just a bit. There we go. Bethesda just released update 1.7.36 for Starfield, and it officially added a highly requested feature, field of view sliders. How was this not part of this game on release? Probably because Todd Howard was like, well, everything just works. This is one of those things that I talk about a lot. AAA games releasing nowadays without like field of view sliders or key mapping, stuff like that is asinine to me. I don't understand how that happens. But here we are, Even though Starfield is a game that can be entirely played from a first-person perspective, it did not have this feature at release. Fans had to previously resort to mods to add this functionality to the game. Jesus. Bethesda did promise it would add field of view sliders to the game shortly after it launched, though now this feature has finally arrived. By going into the accessibility tab of the settings menu, players can adjust the field of view of both the first and third person cameras on both console and PC. I cannot believe this was not part of this game by default. Update does bring some other improvements as well, like fixing a progression blocking issue in the Echoes of the Past quest and improving stability and performance. In particular, Bethesda claims stability with Intel Arc GPUs will now be better for PC players. For most players, though, the FOV slider is the most important new feature included in this update. Starfield isn't the only Bethesda game to get a notable update this month. Last week, Redfall finally received a patch that overhauled the game's encounters, tweaked its stealth system, and added a 60 frames per second mode. 60 frames? What? What year is it? Oh my god. While this Starfield update isn't as large or monumental as that one, it does show Bethesda's commitment to improving Starfield and adding heavily requested features. Hopefully updates that add things like NVIDIA DLSS support, an HDR calibration menu, ultra-wide monitor support, and an eat button for food aren't too far off. Yo, if you need it, here's the link to this. Man, 60 frames per second, mind-blowing, dude. Best Sony PlayStation 5 deals for Prime Day. Looks like you can save some on some games, accessories, and more for PS5. There's going to be a lot of deals right now. If you didn't know, Prime Day has kicked off. It's today through tomorrow. So, I mean, if you're in the market for anything, really, at all, you should be checking to see if there are any deals on Amazon that you can get your hands on. But, specifically technology-wise, there's going to be deals on video games. There's going to be deals on hardware, software, the peripherals, all kinds of stuff, right? And so it looks like on PS5 you can save up to nearly 80% on games like The Last of Us Part 1, Stray, Elden Ring, Horizon Forbidden West, and more. Prices starting as low as $11. So you can see like Stray. Dying Light 2 is $25. Stray is $25. Spider-Man Miles Morales, $40. Atomic Heart, $35. And they've just got a list of games down here, you know. Pretty good sales, and some accessories for the PS5, stuff like that. So I'll link this for you guys. If you're interested, you might be able to get yourself some decent deals right there in this list, okay? PC gaming is becoming unaffordable to gamers on a budget. Players fear. I'm gonna read this. I've already got a bit of a contrasting sentiment to throw in here. PC has always been a realm of gaming that has had one of the biggest obstacles for people has been entry level price, right? But I also think that there are a lot of people that aren't familiar with PC gaming who feel like you have to have like, you know, $1,500 to $2,000 to get into PC gaming. That's not the case. It's definitely not the case. Is it traditionally maybe a little bit more expensive than like a console, like a $500 console? Yeah, probably a little bit. But at the same time, it pays off in the long run. You can build for the future, meaning that, you know, the PCs are something that you can set up to be upgradable in the future, whereas consoles, you can't do that. It's something that is a useful tool outside of just gaming. You can get a lot done with a PC other than just gaming on it. So that's a benefit to it. Most of the time with gaming, PC gaming, you don't have to deal with any kind of paying to play games in multiplayer, paying to play online, outside of the you know, occasion of maybe like an MMORPG online where, you know, like World of Warcraft has subscription or something, you know. But it's not the same as like console, where if you want to play Xbox online with any of your friends in any game, you have to pay monthly. Same thing for PlayStation, same thing for Nintendo. That's disgusting. Gaming's always supposed to have been about playing with your friends, whether it be in a local environment, a LAN environment, or online. It doesn't matter. It's supposed to be about playing with your friends. And to have to pay to play online in any capacity, in my opinion, is disgusting. It's one of the things that has been a big turnoff for me about console gaming. So PC gaming, you don't have to deal with that. So you're saving money monthly right there. You don't have to deal with backwards compatibility issues. So any game that you ever buy on a platform like Steam or Epic or anything like that, if you get a new PC, you don't have to worry about backwards compatibility. You still just can play those games, as well as the fact that you get tons of free content on PC that you don't get on console. So really, the people want to talk about like the issues of like upfront cost, you know, unaffordability of PC gaming. They don't take into consideration all the other aspects that you're saving money on when it comes to PC gaming in the long run, as opposed to console gaming. I'm not going to knock anybody for getting into gaming in any form or fashion where they're having a good time, whatever. But I will call out the things that I find to be, you know, differing between the different platforms of gaming, and especially the different corporations of gaming, and where I feel like they try to take advantage of people. And I do feel like in the realm of gaming nowadays, console developers try in large part to take advantage of the people that they have locked into their platform and their systems. You know what I mean, Davey? As opposed to something that's more open like PC gaming is, you know? So I'm not going to knock anybody for where they want to go game and have fun at. But You cannot deny the fact. Like, I mean, look at my library on Epic Games. You know what I mean? My Epic Games library, I have over 250 games. I've paid for like 3 of these. I have over 250 games that are bangers, dude. Most of these are at least solid quality to banger games, dude, that I've paid for 3 of these of over 250 games. You'll never find that on console. You'll never get that on console. Ever. You know what I mean? It's just things like that I think people have to understand and take a critical look at when people want to talk about, oh, well, PC gaming's not for me. It's just too expensive. In the long run, it's at least going to balance out. At least. If not, maybe even be a little bit less expensive, in my opinion. So you've got to take a critical look at these things when you come across these kinds of articles and this thought process of PC gaming is just too expensive. Can you go crazy insane with PC gaming and make like $5,000 to $10,000 rigs? Yeah, absolutely. Do you need to? Absolutely not. No, you do not. You know, so that's the side of PC gaming that allows people to just go kind of insane, you know, and go way over the top. You don't need to do that, though. Do you remember when PC gaming was somewhat affordable? How times have changed. And I'm going to bring up another sentiment here to that I think has become a very nice thing for PC gaming as a very affordable segue for people that are interested for PC gaming. That has prevented them in the past. Maybe cost has prevented them from getting into PC gaming in the past. I think there's something new that has happened in the industry over the past few years that is presenting a very nice, affordable segue for people to try their hand at PC gaming. I'll bring it up in a moment. Do you remember when PC gaming was somewhat affordable? How times have changed. PC gaming is becoming increasingly expensive, especially when it comes to purchasing the latest hardware, then staying up to date with the ever-evolving video gaming landscape. While updating your gaming PC can be expensive, there was a time when purchasing actual video games on PC cost less than their console counterparts. Now, mostly, PC and console video games are around the same price. Remember what I just said, though. How often on a console are you able to just go out and get free games all the time? So if you want to talk about price, if you're going out and you're buying a game that just released, yeah. If it's a multi-platform game and you're going to buy it at on release, then yeah, that's the way that works. It's been like that for a long time. There's also the debate on inflation. Yes, comparatively, video games from the 90s were technically more expensive to purchase, and yes, today they can be more expensive to develop. However, unlike yesteryear, many modern-day video games are flooded with microtransactions, and expansions are certainly more plentiful today. Reddit users took to the site to discuss just how much PC prices had risen by. Me and my brother were planning on a 1440p build. We're looking up the parts and prices online this week in India. The R7800 XT and the Ryzen 5800 X3D alone cost $1,100. We have around 20% customs duty. Our final build came to an equivalent of around $1,900, said Redditor Shadowblaze25MC. They continued, we looked at the Xbox Series X price, shocked to see it was $580 here after custom. So we theorized we could get a Series X, Xbox Game Pass, Ultimate for a year, and our RTX 3060 laptop on sale for around $900. Or a pre-owned 3070 Ti laptop, a $200 1440p monitor. Still have money left over to buy a couple of games. Becoming increasingly clear that console gaming may be the more cost-effective option. Always has been. It's definitively fluctuated over the years, but in general, PC gaming is more expensive, replied Chameleon. PC hardware prices have undergone a huge inflation in the past decade, making building a gaming PC capable of playing the same games as current-gen consoles at comparable visuals and performance is vastly more expensive. Users in the thread mentioned that the cost of building a gaming PC can be trimmed down by quite a lot if you're willing to play at 1080p and not 1440p. Not to mention that if built correctly, a PC can be used for much more than just gaming. Yep. I think it's becoming affordable, but only if you are okay with 1080p, 60 frames per second gaming. Okay? So, I mean, this is one of those things that people have to determine for themselves too, right? I'm always going to shoot for more frames than the resolution, because I play a lot of games where frames matter to me, and genres of games where frames traditionally matter more. But everybody has their preference. The thing that kills me about a lot of console games nowadays is like consoles don't even hardly give you an option anymore. You see it quite often. Redfall didn't. Gotham Knights didn't. All they focus on is you can play at 4K, but you're only getting 30 frames. Whereas on PC, you're going to have options, you know? My friend recently built his PC that cost $700. He's able to run mostly everything at 1080p, 60 frames. Explained Zombie Nerd 300. Gaming has not become unaffordable. Going off of the parts you were looking for tells me you think you need more than you actually do need to game at 1440p, suggested all Sesco. At the end of the day, both PC and console gaming have their own positive and negatives over the other. Yes, building a gaming PC can get very expensive without research, also offers more flexibility. At the end of the day, there are options for everyone. I agree. There are pros and cons to both. I have personally, again, gotten to the point where I feel like console gaming has become more of a scummy segment. The developers of consoles, PlayStation, Nintendo, Xbox, they know they've got people locked into these segments. And when they get people locked in, well, that's where my library is, you know? Well, that's what I'm familiar with. Well, I don't feel comfortable diving into another or even the PC realm because I'm not very technically knowledgeable or whatever. You know, there's a lot of different reasons why people want to stay where they've been and they're comfortable with it, right? They want to stay there. They know they've got people locked into that, right? Which is why you see Xbox do things like if you want, storage expansion and you're getting an extra, terabyte of storage, you're paying $200 for it. When a terabyte of storage retail usually runs for about solid state drive, $70. But you're paying triple that because Xbox felt the need to collaborate with proprietary makers of a storage expansion system for their console, right? Which was Western Digital and Seagate. It's scummy stuff like that. Yeah. There's always pros and cons, things to take into consideration. Is the price point for getting into PC gaming a little bit more? Usually, yes, it is. Yeah. But again, you're getting not just a gaming console, you're getting a utility, a tool to use for many different applications other than just gaming. You're getting something that you can build for the future. You're getting something where you get tons of free content all the time. You're getting something where you don't have to normally pay online most of the time. There's all kinds of ways in where it balances out, right? So yeah, it's a long news segment today, man. Yeah, it's a long news segment. We've had a lot of good talks though, and it's okay. We've had some pretty short ones here lately too, but it's all right, man. We'll get into the gaming stuff as long as the topics we're covering and everything are appropriate and we're having good conversations, man. It is what it is. This is important to me, and I think it's important to a lot of other people in the community too. So if we're fleshing it out, it's okay. This is good stuff, man. So this is the only other thing I want to talk about here, right? When you're discussing, you can't have this topic without bringing up things that are happening in modern gaming, like the Steam Deck. Okay, you've got these pieces of hardware that are emulating what Nintendo did with the Switch, but they're doing it for PC gaming. So whether you want to talk about, and these are all at different price points, they give you different options hardware-wise, but they're giving people an easy, locked-in way to kind of segue into PC gaming. You want to talk about the Steam Deck at the lowest kind of price point, the Lenovo Legion Go, which is just released, which is very similar to the Switch, just more modern hardware, detachable controllers, all that kind of stuff, bigger battery, at a price point in just over what the Switch is, or not the Switch, but the Steam Deck, and then the Asus ROG Ally, which is at the highest price point of between $900 and $1,000. These are all different pieces of hardware here that I think, and especially the lower ones, I think the Steam Deck and the Lenovo Legion Go especially are giving gamers an option of an easier segue into PC gaming that gives people that dual role mobile slash traditional console that you can dock. It docks, turns into the traditional console, and it's a nice little segue into PC gaming. You can't leave that out of the conversation either, where it like the Steam Deck plays a ton of games at a really nice entry point, price point for consumers. And it's a great little device, man. Talking about what we were talking about earlier, you know what I mean? With, how user-friendly is it for the consumer? Quality of life friendly is it for the consumer? Very, very. All those devices actually are. So you can't talk about this without also bringing into play the different modern pieces of like hardware that are coming into. You don't have to build a desktop rig to be doing PC gaming. You know what I mean? That's not the way this is anymore. You have to kind of think about all the options that are out there for people nowadays. Xbox is changing how their capture system works. Let's see what this is real quick. One of Xbox's strongest features has always been the capture system that has been integrated with its consoles for several years. At the press of a button, users can capture clips in up to 4K res and share them effortlessly across the Xbox network and beyond. It's been a relatively unchanged mechanic for around a decade, has only improved over time. Now, it has been revealed by Xbox that the capture system is about to face a massive change. It was announced that as of January of 2024, any game clips or screenshots uploaded to the Xbox network will be deleted after 90 days. Monumental difference. Put that into perspective, I have clips stored on my Xbox network from around 7 or 8 years ago. They're GTA 5 clips, and they're just wonderful. Beyond that, I have a scattering of clips from a wide variety of games: UFC, Fallout, Wolfenstein, Call of Duty, Sims, you name it, it's there. If Xbox's new policy had always been a thing, all those clips would have ceased to exist a little more than 3 months after I'd captured them, eradicating those memories. Unless I backed them up, of course. That's what's changing, and it has surprised gamers the world over. That's one of two ways around it. You can either back them up or set them to automatically upload to a OneDrive account. As of January 2024, any clips and screenshots captured and uploaded to the Xbox network will be deleted after just 90 days. Could be a storage-saving thing. Perhaps there are billions of forgotten files lingering on an Azure server somewhere. Who knows? I'm sure there are. Hasn't yet been confirmed what's going to happen to existing clips and screenshots that fall outside of that threshold. Well, I mean, also, this is probably going to help them play into making some money off of OneDrive, right? Doesn't OneDrive have like a data cap on it, and it's not very high unless you pay? Yeah, I mean, that's traditionally the thing with like cloud storage, right? And that's what OneDrive is for Microsoft. So I'm guessing that their OneDrive play for this is like, well, yeah, you can automatically upload them to OneDrive as long as you got enough storage if you're paying for it. But I mean, you have to understand it as a 5 gigs. 5 gigs fill up fast with some 4K res video, dude. But I think it's the same as basically any other like thanks Ferret, any other like cloud storage solution. You can just continue to pay for more storage or whatever, right? As a subscription. But I'm sure that like from Microsoft's standpoint and Xbox's standpoint, oh yeah, dude, yeah, for sure. Yeah. So it's got to be, a ton of flipping server space, that people are racking up at, but people are also paying for it. They're going to act like people aren't paying for it. People are paying for it. If you're paying to play online and everything, you're paying for that service. I don't give a crap what Microsoft says. If you have an Xbox and you're paying for, the paying online and stuff like that. So if you subscribe to Microsoft 365, you get 1 terabyte. Dude, you'd still be filling that up real quick with 4K res videos. Yeah. But I don't know. Yeah. I think this is a play for them to make more money, to be honest. I'm not surprised, but I think that's what it is. And here's the thing again, as of January 2024, any clips and screenshots captured and uploaded to the network will be deleted after just 90 days. Hasn't been confirmed what's going to happen with the already existing clips and screenshots that people have on their accounts, right? Consolidate resources, money play. Yeah, exactly, dude. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure we'll get some information about what I would hope that they're not going to be messing with people's stuff that they've already had before this hits. This should be a retroactive kind of situation. You know what I mean? Anything that you upload after this date of January 2024, that's when this comes to effect. They shouldn't be messing with people's stuff that they already have. This should be a retroactive kind of situation, in my opinion. Unity CEO Rich Tiello steps down effective immediately. Yep. Should have happened before now, to be fair. I still... wasn't this guy like an ex-EA guy or something like that? Now ex-CEO John Ricciello has been the face of several business decisions unpopular with both developers and gamers. Does it say at the end of the article? Yo, thanks, Ferret. Yeah. Game engine maker Unity has announced that their CEO, John, I'm probably butchering his name, but, you know, he deserves it, I think. Ricciello will just retire from his prominent positions at the company. Effective immediately, he will retire as president, chief executive officer, chairman, and member of the company's board of directors. In short, Unity's popular and controversial CEO is out, which makes sense given that he is ultimately the person at the top of the reason why we had to publish an article called Why Every Game Developer is Mad Right Now last month. Yeah, I have a couple of news articles on the YouTube channel about this entire debacle, dude. He ruined Unity. I don't think he's the only one behind this. Let's be fair. I don't think he's the only one behind this, but I think he was a big part of it, okay? His Unity unveiled confusing, controversial, and still very poorly explained pricing scheme changes. They've since been partially walked back. Unity has announced that James M. Whitehurst will take over as interim CEO. Whitehurst was formerly CEO at open source software company Red Hat from 2008 to 2020. Then a president at IBM until 2022. Red Hat, that's all Unix or Linux. That's Unix stuff, right? Red Hat? Isn't that what Red Hat is? Unix stuff? You know, Ferret? Isn't that like the Linux? Is it Linux? Okay, yeah. It's supposed to be pretty good stuff, dude, Red Hat is, from what I know of it. I haven't dabbled in it. I've heard good things about Red Hat, though. Do you know much about it? Anybody? It's unclear what, if any, changes Ricciello's ouster will have on Unity. In a press release, Whitehurst said that Unity is well positioned to continue enhancing its platform, strengthening its community of customers, developers, and partners, and focusing on its growth and profitability goals. The company also said that it doesn't expect changes to its expectations of profit in third quarter 2023. Unity has fired some 600 or more employees so far this year and closed half its offices. Classic tactics for boosting a business's profitability in the short term. Good beginner for Linux is Ubuntu. Yeah, I've heard that as well. Okay, word. Yeah, thanks, buddy. The announcement is already being hailed as a victory on social media. Pricing scheme is hardly Ricciello's first controversy at Unity or in the game industry at large. He's a business figure quite disliked by many rank and file players and developers as the face and man taking the blame for a number of high-profile controversies over the years. That might be as simple as the firings above or the time last year that he called game developers flippin' idiots and was forced to publicly apologize. Wow. Further back, committed industry watchers know Ricciello served as CEO of Electronic Arts during one of its most controversial periods. Transition into always online gaming and the Origin digital storefronts. which culminated in the disaster that was 2012 SimCity and saw EA voted the worst company in America for 2012. Fantastic. How did this dude get hired as the CEO of Unity after all this crap? How? How does that happen? Nonetheless, shortly after he said that players would learn to love always online games, which he was definitely right about in the form of massive success for live service titles, they also definitely haven't given backlash to games like Payday 3. They also definitely haven't given backlash to games like Payday 3, including always online features. How does that happen, dude? How does somebody like this, that has had that much controversy in their past, get hired on? I mean, Unity deserves it. Why do you hire somebody on like this as your CEO? Do you not vet this individual? Yeah, you're right. It has to be some kind of like, rubbing elbows. It's like he knew the right people or something. That's what I'm saying. It's like, there's no way this was only his decision, right? He was in cahoots with some people up there. Yeah, the good old boy network, right, dude? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're in there rubbing each other's backs, and there's no way this dude is the only one at the, the root of why these decisions were made. But he's taken the blunt of the blame for what happened here. That's why what I'm saying is there's definitely other people to blame in Unity. I still as a developer would not want to have anything to do with Unity, dude. No way. Mm-mm. Here we go. So we're gonna end the news segment today. It's been a long one, dude, but it's been good. I've really enjoyed it. I always do, but we had a lot of nice stuff to talk about for today's news segment, and we had a lot of good ideas to flesh out together and stuff. And I love having the interaction with people about these topics and everything. So I know it was long, and I know for people that are here for the gameplay and stuff, this might be a bit drawn out for you, and I apologize, but this stuff's important to me and a lot of other people that are, immersed in the gaming industry and everything. So, we'll finish it up here, and then we'll move on, and we'll play probably final day of Song of Horror, okay? Oh, they are fair. Yeah, we've seen a lot of it, dude. We've seen a lot of it, yeah. I think that the tough thing are those developers that were already in the midst of like halfway completing games that were on the Unity engine, and maybe, smaller devs, especially, that didn't have a lot of capital to invest, don't have the time and capital to invest in changing over to a different engine, stuff like that, that's the hard thing for them. Yeah. But Steam Next Fest is popping off right now, if you didn't know. Yeah. So Steam Next Fest, boom, on Steam. Go here. You can take a look at, they've got all kinds of new demos. They're broadcasting live showcases of games that are not yet released, but will be coming out before too long. There's just all kinds of cool stuff to look at for these games that are coming to us and everything. So there's all kinds of stuff to look at on Steam Next Fest. Yeah, yeah. To be fair, dude, 7 Days to Die has been in early access for 10 years. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that, dude. Yeah, I mean, it's going to hurt potentially a lot of developers. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I think there comes a point where, developers have to, in a respectable amount of time, go, okay, this is our base game. This is what you get in our base game. They can continue to add to it and everything, but it feels like one of those situations where, they just lose track too much of trying to get the core done, Yeah. Well, they might have to do it again, bro. I mean, that's not funny. That sucks. But, you know, it's always a weird thing for me to see a game. I don't care if it's like, you know, yeah. I don't care if it's something like 7 Days to Die, where it's been in, early access for 10 years, or you talk about something like Star Citizen that was supposed to have a full release version of their game in 2014, and here we are almost a decade later, and they're still releasing alpha content. You know what I mean? It's just weird. It doesn't make sense to me. I think that it shows that these developers are losing track of trying to get a core done for their game and then branch off after. It seems like they get too sidetracked and distracted with making too much new stuff, or you know what I mean, focusing on other things rather than getting the core of their game done first, which is a weird concept to me. I don't. It's hard for me to see a game be in early access for that long, or alpha state for that long, or whatever. It's an odd thing for me to grasp onto. I'm not saying development is easy. You know, and I'll never say that. But that's always a weird thing for me to see. 12 Steam Next Fest demos to try first this October. If anybody has anything else to add to the news segment, by all means, let me know in chat. We'll discuss it. We'll address it after we do the Steam Next Fest stuff and before we move on to playing games for the rest of the day, which will be Song of Horror, and we'll see how long it takes us to get through that and see if we get into anything else, okay? But the final Next Fest for this year is back with hundreds of fresh demos to try, and Rock Paper Shotgun has rounded up some of their favorites so far. Let's see what they got here. Warhammer Age of Sigmar, Realms of Ruin. We've seen a little bit of this already. Looks pretty cool. Buy me some soup? What is this? Puzzle game where you have to buy your friend some soup on an old CRT computer. What? No way, dude. Yo, that's a sick startup. I love it. Jesus, dude. Is that nostalgic or what? Dude, yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say, Ferret. Yeah, it's like some old Windows 95 stuff, bro. Oh, Jesus. Remember all those websites back in the day people would just put out there all over the place? They were just terribly designed. You know, none of the websites back then were great. But there were a lot. People would just like mess around and learn like how to build websites and stuff. They were just janky, dude. They were terrible. You know, it was great. Fear of Spotlight. Is this a new one? Or is this just a recommendation for like a game kind of like that? For the Spotlight. Nufkin, Melody of Moomin Valley. We've seen this one as well, so I'm not going to pull that up. Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. I think we've seen that too. I'm going to pull this up real quick, though. I'll pull up Fear the Spotlight real quick. See what it is. Yeah, this one's been out already, so it's not like a...
Amy?
Oh, this just came out here recently, though. Interesting. Oh, Jesus! Yeah, it's got that old school nostalgic feel to it. It's like some PS2 stuff, dude.
Amy?
Last time I saw a payphone, Jesus Christ, dude. I don't even know. Yeah, that looks cool, man. Thanks, Dick Marin. I don't even know, dude. You know, it's funny. Yeah, we were we were watching a show the other night, and it had like an old telephone on the TV show. My daughter was in there with me, and an old telephone with like a receiver on it and everything. You know, one of the it wasn't like a rotary phone. It still had like the push, like buttons on it and everything. But it was old school looking, dude. One of those big heavy phones, dog. You could smack somebody with and probably kill them. But it had a receiver and everything. And oh yeah, ferret for sure. And I asked, it was facing the other way on the show, and I asked I was like, "Do you know what that is?" My daughter knew. She knew. She's like, "Yeah, it's phone." But it's funny because like kids nowadays, dude, they never saw phones like that. It's like this is a phone, right? Like this is a phone, dude. Most kids, they've never seen like an old school phone or anything. It's pretty wild. Or a phone that like had a cord like that on it. Like how funny that's become. Like I wear this around, dude. It's like I think it's a funny bracelet, bro, because like like a telephone cable. Remember those old telephone cables from like the 80s and stuff? VHS tapes and stuff? Yeah, dude. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen some of those too, Ferret. Yeah, dude. It's wild, man. Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. Let's see what this is, dude. I don't know that I've seen the Survivor spinoff here. What is this, dude? I've never played any of the Deep Rock Galactic games either, though. Yeah, dude. One of my best friend back home, he has a ton of VHS, dog. I'm telling you, bro, he could open an old school video store. The amount of DVDs, and dude, I'm talking all the cases, everything. DVDs, VHSs, all that stuff. Video games, dude. The amount of like old school video games and everything, insane, dog. The landline wire, yeah, just like wrapping your finger around it or whatever, yeah. VHSs in original cases, yo, that's sick, dude. What was always dude, even thinking about it right now, the smell, dude. You remember like being young and like going to a rental store, like a VHS store to like rent movies or even like cartridges, like to rent. Because back in the day when I was young, we would very rarely get to go rent like a movie or a video game. You know what I mean? But it was like back in that time of like NES cartridges. So it was like VHS everywhere and NES cartridges, right? Bro, there was something about the smell. They're like, you go to those stores, dude. The way they smelled, dude. It's nostalgic, bro. And I just talking about it, I can smell it, dude. I can smell those stores, dude. There's something about the way the cartridges and the tapes smelled, dude, that would fill those stores up, man. I don't know, dude. I like food quite a bit. No, I know. I've worked fast food too. That gets real old real quick. Take a minute, yeah. Blockbuster used to smell that way. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Blockbuster, Jesus. Yeah, yeah, I know. Fair. Yeah, I worked fast food whenever I was younger too, man. I know. That's why I was saying that. Yeah. Yeah, that sucks, Cappy. What's up, Cappy? All right, let's see what else we got here, dude. Jusant, we've seen this as well. Sentry. What is Sentry? Wave defense shooter, huh? Let's see what this is. I will link this article for everybody too if you haven't seen all these. Interesting. That was pretty cool, dude. He like meleeed that guy and it like hit him in the gut. Dude like bent over. That was neat. Oh, sick! Oh, word. Nice, Captain. Yeah. You've got magnetic boots on, dude. Yeah. You've got plungers on the bottom of your feet, Ferret. You've got space plungers on the bottom of your feet, yeah. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Yeah, that looked pretty neat, dude, actually. I'll link it for you guys if you want. I'll wish list it. We'll see how it goes. Space plungers, dude. There you go. Let's see what else we got, dude. Oh, Jesus. What? Peripetia? Grim lo-fi concrete jungle. Have we looked at this? We might have looked at this at one point. Well, you remember back in the day too, it was like, I don't know if anybody already brought this up. I've missed a little bit of chat, but you know, it was like, you know, if you didn't rewind the movie when you like get back to the rental store, you could get charged, you know? Wow, dude, Jesus. Yeah, you're sort of in charge for that, yeah. Yeah, a lot of stores would charge if you didn't rewind. Interesting. Had a lot of rewinders, yeah. Huh. Okay. Robots human sized. What is this? It's just a platformer? Solium Infernum? Crap is this? RPS history books. Strategy game, a bit like a miniature Total War, huh? Let's look what this is.
The Dark Majesty has vanished.
Let me know if it's not loud enough or whatever. Some of these Steam trailers have gotten like super loud here recently, man.
Between you and eternal power is hell itself.
Oh yeah, Cappy?
Stark
Nice.
rituals to curse your rivals. Torment them with clever insults and demands. Gather your praetors and marshal your infernal legions. Know your enemies and plot their downfall. After all, what is hell but other people?
The strategy game from hell. Nice. Oh, yeah, dude, for sure. Yup. Or remember, like, the cassette players that wouldn't stay closed? Like, they'd get to the point where they wouldn't stay closed, where you just, like, tape them shut or something, you know what I mean? Bro, tape players were terrible, bro. I hated tape players. Last Flame. Thermaturge. Oh, dude. Haven't we seen this? This looks pretty dope, actually. Story-driven RPG with morally ambiguous choices, taking place in the 20th century Warsaw. Check this out.
In Warsaw, it doesn't take much to find yourself in a predicament.
A Walkman that would close eventually, but you had to do it just right. Oh, yeah. I know exactly what you mean. A Walkman, dude. That was the jam. Sony Walkman. Heck yeah.
I'm a thaumaturge, and staring into the depths of the human soul is my craft. As classy as that sounds, there are times where I have to get my hands dirty.
Hey, Suski!
The gift of thaumaturgy runs deep in my family. I have it just like my beloved father had it before me. Whether there's truly a gift or an immeasurable curse is up for debate. Did father have his grimoire
Do you regret?
at the time of his death?
But why would anyone want Papa's grimoire? What do you intend to do?
Your power is terrifying. Do you know that?
Your absence from Warsaw has happily come to an end, I hope.
The boundary that separates good from evil is hazy and elusive.
I didn't catch your name.
Some people believe their evil deeds are the work of inner demons. Yet I know these demons don't come to those with clear conscience.
Word, dude. Cool.
They bear a name. Salutars.
I'm glad somebody was able to get some use out of it then. That's cool.
They always come uninvited. That giant bird must enjoy it. I can tame these beings and bend them to my will.
Oh my god, dude, this looks dope. You're basically a necromancer.
Of course, it's not easy, as the border between thaumaturgy and insanity.
I love his coat too.
Be ambiguous.
Like with the fur around the collar and stuff, dude. That's sick.
How about a little game? You may think that in this world our actions are ours alone.
Oh, dude, I want to play this.
Rather differently.
Brave enough to cross even that final boundary?
My name is Viktor Shulsky, and you will soon learn what the thaumaturge is really capable of.
Oh, yeah. Remember when it got advanced enough you didn't have to turn them over anymore? Like, the cassette players got advanced enough, it would just like basically play them without having to flip them. I like it, dude. Yeah, this is my kind of jam. December 5th, really? Ooh, wee. I like this, dude. This is interesting for me. Songs of Silence. Auto Battler. Take a look at this real quick. Yeah.
In this realm, light and darkness stand divided.
Does it really, Ferret?
Two
Yo, that's
sides of the
sick, dude.
same coin. We have existed in parallel, a fragile piece. But now, both worlds are under threat.
Sorry.
Our choices define us. Am I really worthy to lead?
So auto battler with
I don't
like
know
card
why this
mechanics and
grand old
stuff.
city
That's kind of
fell,
neat.
But if we
Pretty.
pull together, we can rebuild it as our safe haven. True heroes emerge through triumphs and setbacks.
This isn't how I wanted things to end.
We'll find a way to survive. I can't afford to show any weakness now.
Doom is approaching. Chains and silence.
We'll write the song of our destiny, and our song will shatter the silence.
Cappy, I think that's what Ferret was talking about earlier. Having to like grab a pencil or something, like get all the tape back into the actual cassette. You know what I mean? Yeah, this doesn't look bad, dude. That's kind of gnarly. See? Yeah. Yeah, I'll link this for you guys if there's anything in here that looked interesting or we didn't quite pull up that you might be interested in taking a look at, okay? There you go. More games, more games, more games! Yeah. 100s of new game demos for Next Fest. What is this? That's just a minute-long promotion for it. So we don't need to look at this, really. Okay, I guess that's kind of the jam, man. That's kind of the jam. Again, this, what is it, next Thursday? Or this coming Thursday? This coming Thursday? No, next Thursday. Next Thursday on the 19th, we'll watch this indie horror showcase stuff, okay? So I'll keep reminding people about this. I'll bookmark this, and we will keep reminding people that this is going to be popping off, okay? But that's the news, baby. That's the news. It was a long one today. I'm sorry. For all of those that were interested in getting into gaming a little bit quicker than this, I do apologize. But, you know, sometimes we have quick news segments. Sometimes we have longer ones. It just depends on how, you know, how much pertinent information we're getting for our searches and everything. So today there was a lot, but there was a lot of good conversation, man. And I enjoy that. I like the, you know, discussing these ideas and notions and things that are happening in the industry that we come across. I enjoy fleshing these ideas out with everybody. So to everybody that was here and a part of the news segment today, man, thank you very much. Everybody that's part of what we do on the Constant, man, you guys are amazing and I appreciate it. So on that note, man, didn't even cause a rant. Not really. Not really. Not to the extent that it gets to sometimes, that's for sure. So we're going to move on, dude. We're going to play Song of Horror. Hopefully finish that game up today. We'll see what else we get into, if anything. But, you know, if anybody's been able to hang out today and check out the news segment that we just kind of we're finishing up right now, you're not familiar with what we do. We stream 6 days a week here. I'm live every day but Wednesday. So tomorrow we won't be live. That's our normal day off. And we always start off at roughly 6 a.m. CST. Always kick it off with video gaming news. Try to stay current and up to date with what's going on in the industry as a whole. And immediately afterwards, as we're about to do right now, after I kind of segue out of this, we go and play games for the rest of the day. So today is going to be probably the finale of Song of Horror. But we're always playing all kinds of different games. This month, obviously, being October, is Scaretober for us. So we're doing just a bunch of horror games, but we play all kinds of stuff. We'd like to do a lot of community games, playing games together. And I do a lot of, you know, single-player campaign games and stuff like that, too. But I enjoy playing games with the community. we have a great, amazing group of people that are here on the constant, cultivating a really amazing place for all of us to be every single day, that presents a very welcoming, inclusive, chill spot for everybody to be and just to enjoy the world of video games, which is what always brings us together in the first place. So if anybody's checking this content out either live or maybe as a VOD later on, all of our previous content is always out there on the Twitch channel as highlights, as well as on the YouTube channel as VODs. If you're checking it out and you're enjoying it, I prompt you to come hang out with myself and the rest of the amazing people that are always part of what we do here, man. We're always looking for more people that are fitting in with our vibe, you know, of enjoying the world of video games and are just cool, caring, passionate individuals, and to come be a part of what we do on the constant, man. So if that sounds like your kind of jam, then come be a part of what we do. That's all I really have. We will not be live tomorrow. Tomorrow is our weekly day off, so understand that. But we will be back, as always, on Thursday with more video gaming news content for October 12th. And until then, everybody stay healthy, stay safe, be kind. The stream is not over. I'm just going to run us a little bit of an outro here to close out the news segment, and I'll be right back so we can start playing our games, all right?